There is nothing better than starting 2 weeks in a row with that awesome video. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Goglings, the Gogorifics, the Gog peoples of the world. Welcome, everybody, to episode 352 of Pen and Pixels. I am your host, Arvin Elleron. This is the show that focuses on story and narrative in games, and this, in particular, is the show that is focusing on Talisman adventures, as we are part here of Pen and Pixels. I hope everyone is doing well and is looking forward to seeing whether or not they can, in fact, hashtag save boots. I hope all of you who were watching the stream last week were able to tweet out, Hive Social out, Post out, Mastodon out, Counter Social out, whatever else, social media out. Hashtag save boots. We do need to save the ghost dog. Very important. And we're going to see whether the party can do something like that. And perhaps, other things, save the world, stuff like that as we go along. Before I go any further, just a couple of reminders about ways to support the channel. If you haven't done so already, please follow us here on GogCom's Twitch channel. Please check out our YouTube as well, and please make sure to subscribe to us here on GogCom's Twitch channel. That is always appreciated. You get those DRM-free emotes to use here, there, and everywhere across Twitch. And if you haven't done so already, please consider clicking through to our individual channels, because we have our own Patreons and subsystems and things like that you can find on our channels as well. Quick note about schedule. We are doing, again, Talisman Adventures today, which is very exciting. We get to do 2 weeks in a row of this. This is going to be December's edition of Talisman Adventures. Then next week and the week after on Pen and Pixels, I'm going to be playing some Road Warden. So we're going to be back to chewing into evil tree roots and things like that, using the power of Effect Life's arcane... Arvbot Plus. So you'll be able to do that in the next couple of weeks. And then at the end of the month of December, between Christmas and New Year's, that strange liminal period between these two holidays, we will be playing on the 27th D&D with GOG Ghosts of Saltmarsh. So if you're feeling a little melancholy between these two holidays, let us cheer you up and get you out of your holiday blues for that. It's going to be good times. I am very excited for that. But right now, I'm excited to bring us back to the world of Talisman Adventures. And so I am going to unmute myself so that the folks know we're ready to go. I apologize for interrupting them, and I note that someone was just showing off a scarf in Zoom. I don't know why. I can't hear them yet, so I'm assuming there's a good reason. And then I'm going to unmute them. And last but certainly not least, I'm going to head on over to reveal to you the power of the GOG stream team. And as we do that, GOG alerts, I think Saber did this right in between these. So Saber has subscribed to tier 1, 83-month streak. That is absurd. That is almost 7 years, to be clear. 7 years of consistent support. And yes, hashtag save boots is what we're looking at today. So they're here. They're ready to go. They are ready to move into the next portion of the campaign. And I'm going to introduce them by having them introduce themselves. I will start with the person underneath me who I think was showing a scarf. Were you showing a scarf? Was I missing that? And that, of course,
I was showing.
This is Pirate Jade. So show us the scarf. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that is my wonderful, wonderful rainbow scarf. That is like can't even show how colorful it is, but it is. And I actually wearing it for not a good reason, because my kids brought home another cuff thing, and so I'm a little bit. You can hear it a little bit. I have a sore throat, but I found my rainbow scarf again, and I'm really, really happy about it. And so this is the good thing about it.
That's very cool. Yeah. When not wearing a colored scarf and things, how have you been, Pyron, and who are you playing in our session today?
I think I've been doing okay. We're getting a little bit in the Christmas cheer, because I've got a 6-year-old who is so into Christmas. It's incredible, and it just makes it makes it more fun for me, because I'm not really like a romantical person in any way, so I'm really like, yeah, okay, Christmas, yeah. And he's like, Christmas, yes, we need more candles, we need more decorations, we need gold tinsels, and I'm like, okay.
We do need more gold tinsel, you're right.
And so we already put up the Christmas pyramid that I found out that a lot of people don't know what it is. I'm going to post a link in chat.
Yeah, I had never heard of this before. I did know the Christmas Millennium Falcon, which will be going outside on my roof as it did last year. In accordance with the prophecy, you have the Christmas flag, you have Christmas lights, and you also have, I'm sure chat will be familiar, the Christmas Millennium Falcon. So it is, and I'm not making it up, it's literally an inflatable Millennium Falcon with Christmas lights on it. So I just want to be clear that that is really in the Christmas spirit. Yeah, so Christmas pyramid.
And for completely unrelated reason, I will not tell my kids about that. So,
Gotcha.
and tonight I'm going to play Regina Augusta III, who's a warrior sprite, and has gathered some experience from the last adventure, and she seems to be even a bit more, well, I would say, like flittery, like flitting around than she used to be, touching stuff she shouldn't touch, getting into people things, being even more curious than before, and she would like to buy some more spears.
That's yeah, right. Which I just had this image, by the way, of like, more people get mature, but as Regina gets older, she gets more flighty and fairy-like. Just sort of like, in my youth, I was really stable and grounded, but now I'm really all over the place. Woo! So I am very excited to see that. And I'm going to talk to each of the players about what their characters can do now that they've reached the heady level of 5, which is halfway really through their leveling arc, unless by the time we get to level 10, Pegasus Spiele has added a extra 10 levels. We'll have to speak to our sponsor about that. But it's always a pleasure to have Pyron with us. I'm excited to see what Regina has to do today. I think it's going to be an interesting adventure for Regina in some ways, as we'll discuss. But first, let's talk a little bit to Darksaber 2K, who is with us. We were just speaking about Bloodstained and about Castlevania type of stuff and things of that nature. But we also have, of course, in the holiday spirit, someone who's, we're having a holiday ghoul adventure. And I feel like that seems totally appropriate for the circumstances. And of course, very importantly, I'm sure that you've spent the week, Saber, thinking about how we can, in fact, hashtag save boots. How have you been over the past week, and who are you playing in our game today?
I've been very good, thank you. Like you say, I seem to have got a lot of viewers playing Bloodstained again after Sunday, including myself. I had to play it again on, yesterday for some more, because I needed a break from Prey, honestly. It's quite a good game, but it gets very repetitive. It's a lot of like Phantom, Killer Mug, Phantom, Killer Stool. So I needed a bit of a break from that. So I've been enjoying that, and I've been getting my level ups done, and tonight I'll be back as Reginald Shune, and just Reginald Shune for the foreseeable future.
Oh well, we'll see. But that's that is why this is no Ghost Dog Left Behind. That's we'll talk about the details of that.
Hashtag save boots.
Hashtag save boots. And we will have quite a bit to say for Reginald, because we're going to a place that will be quite familiar to ghouls, but we will speak more about that in a little bit. Always a pleasure. Thank you as well, as always, Saber, for Move Button Dashboard, etc. Moving right down the line, we have, of course, the inimitable Peripheral Mike, who I am told on good authority spent, and I want to quote here directly, much of a previous stream that may have been of a game called Plasma Gloria, scooting around on his Rhymes with Blasts, to avoid being hurt by ghosts. And I don't know if that's true, but that's just what I heard when I logged on to Zoom. And so I just have to, ask if that's at all accurate, Mike. And if so, if you can explain what the hell that means, and also who you're playing today.
Yeah, hi everyone. That was a really PG version of what I said in the green room. Amazing work, by the way. Yeah, so I was playing Phasmophobia on a different, lesser platform with Darksaber this weekend, and we found out that because I play it in VR, because I'm a sadist, I hate my central nervous system. I found out if I literally, physically, in real life, get on the floor, the ghost can't catch me. Now, this is great, and it works as well. This is great, except
in real life, it's great too. Just to be clear.
In real life, absolutely, yeah. It's absolutely fantastic. Apart from the fact that one, Saturday was the most cardio I've done in about 4 months, and two, my character's model it's not animated to look like it's laying on the ground. So basically your center of gravity is your belt. So if your belt goes lower than the floor, it just looks like your character is just scooting their butt along the carpet as you're walking along. So I just basically looked like I was doing the most severe squat and walking around with it at the same time with my knees in my ears.
Look at my VR gains. My VR gains.
Pretty much, yeah. But yeah, it was a fun time, and I realized that I'm significantly more terrified of that game when I've not had a beer. I get booze bravery. So I have a couple of beers and I'm just like, I'll tackle the ghost, I'll do it. But now I was just like, I'm just gonna stand at the back and I'll position this camera near the door, and that's a dark basement, someone needs to go down there. Bye. So yeah, there's a lot of that. But if you check out my YouTube channel /Peripheral Mike, you will find clips of the stream that will be coming up, and also some long form clips that I've been doing of some of our previous Phasmophobia games. So yeah, stay tuned.
Very good
and today I'm going to be playing Lump. Thank you. I'm going to be playing Lump, our world-wandering troll warrior, who essentially has leveled up and now can take an extra hit, essentially, and can hit things even harder. So that's kind of, which is fine, right? I mean, that's kind of his wheelhouse, so I'm okay with that.
But this is like nuanced, advanced hit, right? Like it's a hit that
it's an extra wind up.
Yeah. Like, you know, and it's sort of like no, not with this, but with this. Like, oh, it's the
no. It's this way, not this way.
Yeah, no, it's too far.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm excited to find out how everyone has leveled up and so forth, as we will talk about just in a moment. But always a pleasure to have Mike with us, and also a pleasure to have Bruce with us. Before we go any further, just a quick question, Bruce. Are either of your greyhounds wearing their awesome sweaters? I just want to know if that has happened, and if you know what we could say about that. And then if you could tell us who you're playing. Of course, I'm speaking to the amazing undeveloped Bruce. So what do we have? Like, are there sweaters on the greyhounds? That's very critical to me.
I'm terribly sorry, but neither greyhound is wearing a jumper right now. I'm so sorry. They are walking around in their birthday suits.
Oh. Could you really quickly tell us about the amazing jumper you're wearing? Because I've just caught that on camera.
Oh, do you like this jumper?
This is amazing.
People keep complimenting me this week on my amazing Christmas jumper, and I keep getting really surprised by it because I didn't buy this as a Christmas jumper. I bought this in a charity shop when I was really, really poor, and I didn't have a jumper, and it was 50 pence in the charity shop. So I bought it, and I wear it at all times of the year. But then suddenly in December, people are like,
wow, amazing.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. How have you been, Bruce, and who are you playing in today's session?
I have generally been very, very busy, especially in the evenings, because I've had a goal to finish writing my book by the end of the year, and that's very soon.
Good goal.
And poor Marvin is going under some general anesthetic tomorrow, just for dental work. He's all right, but that's always worrying when you have a greyhound. So I've not been sleeping very well. And the last time I was this tired, when we played Talisman, Hweddle made some very questionable decisions. So anything that Hweddle does, like, can the gang have veto on? No, Hweddle doesn't do that, Bruce. That is not what Hweddle does right now. Anyway, so I'm playing Hweddle, and he is a dwarven minstrel, and he has a history of licking cursed objects, but he is definitely not going to be doing that today. And he's a lot of fun, so I'm really looking forward to the session today with everyone.
It's going to be good times. I am excited for it. And let's talk a little bit about what happened in our last session, which was just last week. The business with the shifty lad and the servant's coin, the curse of the servant's coin, I should say, came to a conclusion in our last session, as I realized I need to put on some music. I love Willow in the Light, but I'm going to do something I think a little different this time. Let's fire up some... let's do some tavern music, Green Forge style, with the honey-tongued traveler. There we go. Lovely. So in our last session, the party was dealing with the end of the curse of the servant's coin, and they did, in fact, manage to do that. They tracked down the evil villain who had turned all of these innocent creatures into dolls for his own servants and to be used for his own amusement. They confronted him rather angrily. There was one memorable moment where every party member either opened a door, smashed through the door, kicked through the door, Kool-Aid Man to go at the door. A lot was done to the door at the same time, is what I'm saying. And they broke through. They managed to get all the way and ended up defeating the evil nephew who had been responsible for all of this in the first place. They were given rewards of potions and support for all of this, but their win did not come without cost, because one of the places that they had gone was the temple to try to get rid of the curse of these wooden dolls. They had done so successfully, but the temple requires payment. It does not give anything away for free. And so while the party was there, they found that although they were able to do the service of the temple, one of them, specifically the ghost dog follower known as Boots, decided that it was drawn in some way to stay at the temple. Now, it was made clear by one of the priestesses at the temple that this was not actually fully normal behavior, and that there was something that was drawing Boots to keeping Boots there at the temple instead of going along with Reginald. This was not a matter of Boots deciding to pass on and shuffle off this mortal coil. This was a choice of Boots being made to do it by some outside force. And it was tied in some way, apparently, with the necropolis of Sepulchre. Now, this place is something which is quite familiar to all of you because it's rather legendary, quite frankly, within the realm. It is a necropolis which is located east of Villadoc along a lonely road. It is a place which is essentially an enormous graveyard where there are multiple ghouls doing their work. And something strange apparently has been happening where the people of Villadoc have not been able to bury their dead. And that, given the size of Sepulchre, has started to have ripple effects on the land surrounding it. Something relating to that and to something that has gone wrong with some of the tombs, one of the tombs, none of the tombs, no one really knows, may have had something to do with why Boots has decided not to accompany Reginald, but is staying here, drawn against its will, almost against his will, to stay there near the temple. So as we said in our session last week, this cannot stand, #SaveBoots, and so the party has decided that it must go to Sepulchre to find out what is going on, to help the people there, and most importantly, to save Boots, who is the goodest boy and is also the ghostiest boy, and should be returned to his proper owner. And so the party, having agreed to do all of this, is ready to go, but not before they reflect on some of the experience that they have had. And that allows me to ask each of the players what has happened to them in their levels. As we move, first of all, to Regina. Regina, you are now level 5. So what awesomeness do you have available to you now that you are a level 5 sprite? Level 5 sprite warrior, to be clear.
Yeah, I'm a sprite, but I'm also a warrior, which this is completely normal. So Regina got a taste of some speed last time, and she really, really liked it. So, Saber made the face. Did I say something wrong again?
Oh,
he
there's
made the
nothing
face
wrong.
he always...
Look, she could have liked blow, or she could have liked smack, but instead she likes speed, and I don't understand what the problem is.
What?
I've got it.
What? No, speed is it is a slang term for a certain drug. Is the other
Well,
term
I mean,
that's used.
I actually meant velocity. She got...
Right. But I just thought it was funny because you're like, I got a taste for speed, and she really likes it. Like, oh, that she does.
I can imagine it on it. I can definitely
It really
imagine her
does
on
fit.
it.
Yes,
Oh, it's
yes.
terrifying.
It really does fit.
I like it that after doing Saber for so many years, I know the face he makes when I say something wrong.
Oh my goodness.
He's trying really hard not to laugh, isn't he?
So
It's
yes.
always that face.
So speed, by which we mean
It's like-
pace. That's what we're talking about here. Speed
Yeah.
and pace.
So
Acceleration.
she was
Yes.
acceleration. She was sped up last time.
Yes.
And she was like, "Yeah, this is cool." And so she might just have gotten another point in agility, and is flying around with newfound speed, which I hope is okay to say.
I think so. And actually, let's go through the stats quickly then. So you still should have a strength of 5, but you
Nope.
have no
Nope.
strength. What do you tell
6
me? What you
now.
have. 6 strength, and that's now 6 agility, is what we're looking
Yes.
at. Okay. And you're still 3 brawn, 2 metal, or not?
3 brawn, 3 metal.
3 brawn, 3 metal. Okay. Because this number that I have is out of date, so I need to update it anyway.
Yep.
Craft 3.
Yes.
2 insight, 1 wits, 3 resolve.
Yes,
Okay.
nothing changing there.
What about the life
think
total?
My life total went up by 3, and I am now at 30.
30 life. Okay, now what is your, because I have a speed stat for you, so what is your, does it have what the new speed stat is? That may not have changed, because it may just be agility.
I don't think that actually changes. If it does, I have not looked it up.
Okay.
But it's well, at least I feel maybe I can accelerate faster. Maybe that's it, to my maximum speed.
I buy that.
Something like that. Yeah. And I can now have 8 light fate.
8 light fate. Wow, so you start with 2 out of 8 light fate.
Yes. That's what I do.
30 out of 30. Now, do you have any other abilities that, like cool things that have popped up for you?
Yeah, so Regina feels like she really contributed to the adventure last time by opening that chest that she opened just right in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And she feels like this is something she should get into, looking at people's stuff and being very good at having stuff while nobody sees that she's having stuff. So she learned Sleight of Hand.
Ah, Sleight of... Okay, so she now darts up to a chest and is like and then zips away, right? So be clear.
It's also, Sleight of Hand is also used for distraction tests, and it's based on agility, so that might actually work out. And she also learned 2 weapon fighting, because the tactician book she bought last time actually told her that this is a good idea.
All right.
So she needs more spears now.
Right, I was going to say more javelins have got to come her way. All right, I think that can be. I think that can probably be arranged, as we'll discuss in a little bit. All right, so then we have, starting out for you, 30 out of 30 life, still 12 out of 12 armor, same armor that you had before. The armor is now all retrofitted and repaired, by the way, between adventures, in case people are curious. 2 out of 8 light fate. And that's Regina. Good stuff, Regina. I am excited to see how that
my physical damage modifier also went up by 1 due to my strength being higher.
Awesome. Good stuff. All right, so that is Regina. Reginald, as you bear down in a determined way to save Boots, what have you done as you've leveled to level 5? You're going to be like, save Ghost Follower from any situation is like your new feat. Like, God damn it. No, what is it that you now got, power-wise?
So in terms of health, I get 1 for my level up, but for my special ability, I took increased life for an extra 5 points, so I'm on 25 max health now.
Check you out. All right, 25 max health. Just to confirm, what? Give me your strength and craft totals.
Yeah. So my strength is temporary 3, but it's 2 normally, but it's temp 3 because I've still got the Briar Rose, which is temporarily buffing.
Right.
And basically, because Reginald's finding he has to think fast a lot with this party.
Can't imagine why.
Yeah, so he's gained a point in wits, which has also had the knock-on effect of raising his craft to 7.
To 7, okay. And under
also
strength...
has the knock-on effect of raising my spell points to 7 and my psychic damage to 7.
Okay, I'll come back to that spell points in a minute. So I have you at strength 2 normally, 3 brawn, 1 agility, 1 metal.
Yeah, 1 metal with 2 as the temp buff.
Right. And then craft 7, 3 insight, 5 wits, 5 resolve?
6 resolve.
6 resolve, my fault. Okay, that's why I was going to say that I knew this was a little out of date. Okay, 25 life, right? So that means that you are currently sitting at 25 out of 25 life. You still have your 2 out of 2 life for the Peddler's Cloak. You have a wand to repair the cloak, and you don't know, you've used 2 charges so far. You don't know how many charges remain. And you are currently sitting at how much spell points? You said 7 spell points?
7 spell points now.
7 spell points, so we'll have you start out with 7 out of 7. And you start with 2 light fate, he said?
2 with 8 max.
2 with 8 max, right, okay. Lovely. Any other cool, awesome new things that you gained?
So, yeah, he's found that his sense of smell's greatly increased recently, almost as if someone is trying to help from afar as best they can. So he has a notice focus in smell.
A notice focus in smell. Okay, that's very cool. I love it. Okay.
That's so thematically on.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Amazing.
It was a toss-up between that or a relics focus in lore, or lore focus in relics, I should say, because either one was like, oh, these are both very, very fitting. But I decided, I think the noticing smell is just going to be more fun.
That's definitely really cool. Also, I want to thank Echo on my channel for pledging for the year to my Patreon. Thank you for doing that, Echo. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Okay, so back to this. Okay, so we've got that. So you've got notice, smell. I love it. What else do we have, if anything, in terms of cool stuff?
That's it there. I say most of it's all just knock-on effects of raising stats,
which is good enough. Like, I mean,
yeah.
spell points are going to be used quite a bit on things. So,
Yes.
good stuff.
I have
So
many
27,
teeth to
25.
shatter.
Yeah, no, seriously. Shatter this. Okay. Right. So yeah, and I got your speed boost there, Pyron. So we're good there. Okay. Cool. Awesome. We're gonna have a lot to say to Reginald this adventure, I suspect, given where we're going. Moving right on down the line, we have the nuanced increase. No, I know, I understand that, but still, I appreciate that you regardless, that helps me overall. No, it just popped up for the thing, is what it said. You paid for monthly. Oh, well, it's what the alert came up to. So, regardless, it was a thing, and it was all good, and I see it reflected on my it's reflected on my thing, so it worked. So it's all good. So thank you. Right, moving on right down the line. Mike, the nuanced attack of Lump now I know has been increased. What do we got in terms of stats for one Mr. Lump? I wonder.
Okay. So let's have a quick look. So stats wise, so leveling up Lump to level 5, I gain some additional life. So my max life is now 30.
Okay.
I'll do
30. Yeah.
aspects and attributes now, so you can update your numbers. Strength 7, brawn 7, agility 3, metal 4.
Okay, hang on a second. Say that again. Strength what?
Strength 7.
Okay, and then agility what?
Agility 3.
3 agility. A billion brawn.
All 7 brawn.
7 brawn.
Because troll.
Right, yes.
And 4 metal.
4 metal.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely. Okay. How about on that craft side?
And the dump stats are craft 2. Insight 1.
Insight 1.
Wits 1.
1 wits, yeah.
Resolve 2.
2
West Ham
resolve.
1.
What would you say?
I said West Ham 1.
West Ham 1. That's what I thought you said.
Sounded like the scores.
2 is it? All right. And nil. All right. Right. Okay. That's strength and craft. All right. And then we have life again. Maximum now for you is
30.
30. Do you happen to have your speed? Speed is what did you just say it was, Parn? It was 10 plus agility, right?
So my speed will be 13.
Oh, right. 10 plus agility. Yeah.
10 plus agility.
I'm multiplying it in my head. I'm like, what? Right, which would have made no sense. Right, okay. What about your max load?
It would be strength times 5, so that's
35.
14, 21, 28, 35, yeah.
35 load. And out of curiosity, how much gold do you allegedly have?
Allegedly? I counted last time. Allegedly. Let's have a quick look. Gold. 22 pieces of gold.
22. Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. All right. I wanted to make sure I had that set. Okay.
There is a question about gold that I want to ask you just before we kick off.
Actually. Okay. All right. Strength. This. Good. Okay. Lovely. Wonderful. All right. So that takes care of that. Anything new? I mean, is it basically just I can punch people even harder, or do you have like enhanced punching? Things like that.
I think it's fair to say Lump was born with enhanced punching. His fists are massive. After all, his fists are the size of small donkeys. But I think it's probably fair to say he's already got 2-weapon fighting. He's now taken 2-handed master, which basically means he's found thematically that quite a lot of the time, instead of being like bash bash 2 fists, he realizes things fall over more if he just goes like this and creates a larger weapon and just whacks them over the head with it, or like barrels into them in like a tornado style fashion. So that's sort of the theme I'm going for right now. Is there's normally there's no offhand weapon or anything like that. That isn't really a thing. But yeah, basically, you know, the Goblin Doom Divers from completely out of context. Basically, they just swing their uncontrollable units in Warhammer, where they just swing a giant metal ball around their head to the point where they lose control and the momentum just takes them into battle. It's kind of like that. And other than that, his skills have increased. He's gained a focus in fortitude for poison, and this was a little difficult to. I wanted something that was useful. And there wasn't anything quite as cool as something like notice smell, because that is really, you know, for Reginald, that is really on point for him.
Yeah.
But I thought that kind of fits because every time I roll a 6 on a Kismet die, I gain life or heal a wound. So like Lump's blood tries to heal him whenever possible, so it would kind of make sense that he would have a bit of a resistance to something that would be trying to attack his bloodstream at the same time.
Yeah, especially with that wound usage, that could be the case, because Hweddle, I believe, still is dealing with a wound. So
yeah, sadly I can't gift them. I can't be like, hey, I'm healed, have a wound healed.
Is that no, Hweddle? Because you saw it, you fixed it. Did we address that?
Yeah, what's her face at the tavern gave us all a potion.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That's
right. You drank
special brew.
I remember. Yes, that's right. Okay, so never mind. But still, the point was you had all run into the issue of dealing with wounds in this last one, and so having that would be useful. Okay, very good, very good. You still have for your light fate. What are you still dealing with here, Lump?
1 at the start of every session, max of 7.
Max of 7 now. And your armor, we're going to bring back up to its full refitted and repaired value. So we're looking at 12 out of 12 armor. Okay, so 30 out of 30 life, 12 out of 12 armor, 1 out of 7 light fate, double two-handed master, two-fisted death, doom dealer, etc. And 1 out of 7
Troll
light fate.
Wrecking Ball.
Troll Wrecking Ball. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
A lot of good healing and stuff like that. Thank you, Mike. Last but certainly not least, let's talk to Hweddle about what has happened to Hweddle in terms of leveling. What new information and songs, Hweddle, have you learned now for what happens next?
Well, it's only been a week, so Hweddle hasn't learnt any new songs. But no. So Hweddle's main problem has been that in combat, the action that he most wants to take is a move called Subtle, which makes him roll a deception check for the enemy to hit one of his friends instead of him.
Right.
But he hasn't until now actually had the deception skill, so it's just been a flat 3d6 every time.
Mm-hmm.
So he's decided that he's going to have to get better at this. So he's been practicing with Lump, getting people to attack Lump instead of him. And he's really been honed in on his deception skill. And so now he has the skill deception. And also spent the special ability called Focused to allow him to get a focus in deception, which is bluff. So he's just decided now, actually, he loves deception and he's just going to go around lying to everyone all the time. He was an innocent little bean before, and now he's realized lying is a lot of fun. So to support that, he has gained an extra point in insight, so his insight is now 5.
Okay.
Which takes his craft up to 6.
Okay, that looks good. How are you doing on, let's talk about life totals.
Added 2 to the total, so he's on 32 now.
32 out of 32. Are you, light fate total for you would be?
2 out of 8.
2 out of 8, yep. That's what I had too. What about spell points? Because you've increased your craft, you now have more spell points, I would assume?
Yeah, 6 spell points.
6 out of 6 spell points. And any other cool, besides those things, I mean, like this, and that's a good amount. Deception, glad to see we'll get a lot of lying. I think that'll definitely increase team bonding, I think, lying to everybody all the time. But any other skills or abilities you want to mention?
No, he just spent he's just gone hard in on learning to lie. Really good.
He's just been walking around the village just being like, oh, I love your dress, when you really don't love the dress. Like, that house is totally going to stay up for the next week. It's not going to stay up. So it's just been like lying all the time, lying practice. I'm excited.
He may or may not be a compulsive liar now.
Great. That is good stuff. I am very excited to see how Weddle manages things. So there we are, chat. We are at level 5. So congratulations to the party for reaching there so far. Thanks again to Pegasus Spiele, by the way, for their continued sponsorship of this campaign. Yeah, and this is how Weddle became a ranger. Exactly. And let's talk a little bit about the place where you're planning to go. Now, I'm assuming, but correct me if I'm wrong, party, that once you've had a chance to, repair your armor, recover your wounds, as we talked about before and so forth, that your plan at that point was to go to Villadoc because of the need to get boots back for Reginald. But I don't want to assume that. I want to make sure that we, that what I've described is accurate. Is that accurate from what people think?
As far as I'm aware, yeah. Like,
Yeah,
we're
save food.
going to be doing some stuff, healing up, fixing armor. I want to have a quick chat about gold, and then, heading off in the direction of Villadoc.
Sounds good. Also, a quick reminder to them, by the way, to all of you folks, that you have gained another follower, and it is Ilette, who is a former tavern maid who has decided to follow the path of adventure, has been moved to do so by her experiences, and is like, I need to go out and do things and make things happen and all that kind of good stuff. And so so you now have Ilette, the tavern maid. I don't remember which one of you was planning on being the one to kind of manage or run Ilette. Reginald is already going to have a follower to worry about, so probably not Reginald. But I don't know whether...
I asked the most questions about Alette, and nobody argued, so I don't mind. I don't mind having Alette as a follower.
And for people who are curious in chat, Alette is capable of disarming through, and I don't mean disarming physically, I mean improving the opinion of others towards the party. Useful. That would, well, if you have a hostile stranger, Alette is very good at reducing that hostility and basically improving what that one does. It's sort of the, the barkeep / waiter, ability to kind of like smooth over the waters and all that kind of stuff. Also, the follower is sneaky, and so the follower will grant you, by spending a loyalty, a bonus die on tests to sneak past strangers or monsters. Has a strength of 2, craft of 3, life of 10, has max loyalty of 8, and will have a loyalty restored whenever Alette witnesses a new creature or place or wonder of magic that she has never seen before. You can also pay Alette loyalty as well. So that's also a possibility if you wish to do that. If you don't do any of that and you just ignore her, it's quite possible she'll eventually wander off and go somewhere else. But that's basically what we're looking at.
I figured that Alette and Lump would bond over their shared love of adventure and coin. So
yeah, I think that seems reasonable. And Alette is very interested in both those things. So that seems quite appropriate, I think. Okay, so with that said, then I'm going to direct the party and the chat's attention to the north. I'm going to do that by bringing this group of people here, these hardy adventurers, up here. If you were to trace a path from Innsview and the tavern, and you were to head north along the main road which runs from the Hollow Hills in the south all the way up and actually around sort of in a distance over through the White Horse Hills and Chapel Bell and so on, you would eventually come down or you would come up to, I should say, you would pass the Great Forest, which is on the west. You would be dealing with the Storm River, which the party had a chance to cross over and decided that it is not an easy thing to do that, just to be clear. Can't just swim across, not a very pleasant river, to the east. And there is a bridge that leads over to the village of Villadoc, and from beyond there to the village of Sepulchre. So the party has gone and has been directed on basically to Sepulchre. One thing to note is that Villadoc itself feels very, I guess what I would say is a little odd, and it probably feels odd to all of you. I'm pretty confident, actually, that Reginald, at the very least, would have been to Villadoc before, although Reginald can tell me whether you've been to Sepulchre or not. I don't know if you have been. Would you have been, Reginald?
I have not, but my parents are from Villadoc, or were from Villadoc. Not Villadoc, sorry, Sepulchre.
Sepulchre. Okay. Have any of you been to this massive necropolis / Villadoc the village?
I haven't.
Lump's probably been near it because of past experiences, but not in it.
Okay. What about you, Hweddle?
I think it probably is quite near the crags, so I imagine that he's probably passed through Villadoc quite a few times. He might not have been Sepulchre. He knows a little bit about Sepulchre because he knew that song.
Yep.
So I was going to say that Hweddle would, on the journey, on the way towards Villadoc at some point, anytime there's opportunity, just buy some dried, cured meats and things. The only thing that he knows is that the dung sweeper says you've got to bring gifts of gold or flesh. So he's bringing some flesh, and he doesn't know what for. That's just a line from the song. So he's bringing flesh. He's not sure what it's for, but he assumes it'll be useful.
But he's bringing flesh just in case. It's a good idea to have some backup flesh just in case you need it when you visit there. And I'm going to come back to your, Hweddle, knowledge of Villadoc and Sepulchre because it's going to be important in a minute. But before I do that, Mike, you had a quick question about gold, you said, about the use of gold?
Oh, yes. So as we were in the tavern at interview, I would quite like to purchase a helm, if that's okay. Nothing too fancy, just like something, cover his ears, that sort of stuff. But mechanically, I'd quite like it to take some damage when I choose.
Let's see how we can do for that. What I'll say is that you should be able to get something like this, I think, which would be a gold. I will say that see the helm entry in chapter 2. What? I have the equipment. What do you mean? You don't need to have any other... I don't need to consult anything else. I already know what's here.
No, it doesn't. It acts differently. You can choose to take damage on the helm, but then it's destroyed, rather than it adding to your armor.
Where are you seeing that?
I think that was in chapter 2.
Oh, that's the chapter 2.
Bear with me a second. I'm just
because I was like, I have the equipment right there.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was like,
I was the same thing. I was like, a helm will add some to my armor, and it's like, just have a look at the appendices that tells you all about helms.
Right. Okay, so
filling
armor. There we go. Yes. Use the same as a shield. You can take the blow in the helm, take no damage. After the GM rolls damage, attack reduces 0 to life. Declare taking a hit in helm. Oh, that's right. And you get to roll 1d6. If you roll a 6, the helm remains intact. If you roll a 1 to 5, the helm is destroyed. Okay, which is actually very in line with what happens in the board game. I should say, though, however, please note that you have a -2 penalty. You saw that probably to notice tests.
Yep.
So I want to make sure that you have that noted. And I will try to put that somewhere myself if I can. -2 notice because of helm. Okay, so 12 out of 12 armor and also 12 out of 12 helm armor. Okay.
Is that how it works?
Because it's its own special it uses all of it. Okay, I take that back.
Yeah, no.
So it just uses the whole thing.
So essentially, as far as I saw, that's my webcam going off. Thanks, guys. As far as I saw, that's what I forgot to do. It's basically like an extra life, essentially.
Right.
So
it
reduces me to 0, but instead the helm shatters, and I'm just like, ow, that really hurt, but I'm still alive.
Got it. Cool. Okay. That makes sense. And that's only if the melee or missile attack would reduce you to 0 life. Important to keep that in mind as well. So it's only
I can't just be like, oh, the big bad boss is doing his massive attack, and I'm just going, oh, bonk. No,
yeah.
Like
in
that.
case of emergency, break helm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So that.
Okay. My only other question was, as he's wandering around asking shopkeepers various questions, various monosyllabic questions, Lump will make reference to, is there any way to make his fists magical after what happened in the temple? Because he's like, magic gloves.
So basically the only issue with that is that asking. Sorry, dropped my fate tokens. There were a lot of them after last week, as you all know. You're not likely, Lump, to get much knowledge about that at the tavern. From what you've been able to gather in general, it's certainly possible for magical gloves to be used. You're not surprised at the prospect of that being the case, but they don't know. No one at this place would know. That's the kind of thing you might need to find out in the city, or if you are dealing with, if you're confronting or speaking to someone with magical powers, they might be able to actually advise you on how to find something along those lines. So such things probably exist, but you don't know off the top of your head, or
Awesome.
No one in the village knows off the top of their head.
Yeah. That's cool. Thank you.
Also, speaking of Dark Fate, now that I'm thinking about it, I had, although we realized later on that the maximum fate I could have had would have been at the time 8. That number has now risen to 10, but I in fact only have 4. Very sad. I got a lot of the party just wanted to give me fate, Dark Fate all the time, but was not able to do that. I was not able to use that all up. So I'm back down to just my normal standard everyday, mediocre 4 Dark Fate to actually use it.
Oh, what's it like on the floor with those peasants?
I know. But if I'm all the way to the floor, peasants can't kill me, as we know. So that's in VR.
Yes, yeah,
so
ghosts can't get you.
So as far as the magical spear, by the way, and the javelins are concerned, magical weapons, I do want to encourage the party that there may be occasion in the future for them to visit someplace like the city, which would have a lot of these items they might be able to get. Magic items and weapons are quite expensive. But if you pool your gold, collect them together, ask around, and so forth, you might be able to track down a magical javelin or 2. Either way, Regina, you could probably get, I think, you have what, 3? How many javelins do you have right now?
I have 1 spear. Would like to buy a normal spear, a second one for 2 gold. That should be readily available,
Yes,
like not a special weapon, just a spear.
Yes.
And 2 javelins, and that's it. So I would like to have 2 spears, 2 javelins. Otherwise, sooner or later I'll look like a flying porcupine.
Okay.
So 2 spears, 2 javelins.
That would be funny too. Okay. So good stuff. And we may have a place for the party to maybe think about going next. We'll see. As far as like shopping trip to the city, because it's been a little while since they've been back there. Okay. So assuming everyone's done, everyone's good with what they wanted to buy and so forth. Then let's talk a little bit about what happens as you get over the bridge. Past Villadoc and heading towards Sepulchre, which is located east of Villadoc along a lonely road. I should mention, Weddle, that typically there is a low, sort of decrepit stone wall which encircles the whole of the graveyard. And it's not designed to keep anything in or out. It's designed as a visual, basically, border, a demarcation of the necropolis boundary. And typically, whenever people pass by, like right near or go inside that border, they get this terrible sense of evil, which warns all who do not belong to leave this place in peace. Like that's the standard, way it feels. It's important to note that it does not feel that way now, which is weird. It doesn't feel evil at the moment. It doesn't feel like anything. It's just walking along, normal, everyday, whatever. But that's not what this is. Sepulchre is easily the largest graveyard that exists in the realm. It is enormous and ancient. It's basically a town of the dead, essentially. So it's that evil aura is there for a reason. And the fact that it's not there is very odd. And it's something that you notice. You can let your party members know that or not as you like, but it's definitely something that you note.
something really weird, right? I don't know if you noticed this, but it feels kind of just normal. I mean, not normal. Normal for like another place, but not normal for this one. You know?
What?
Normally, when I'm walking along here, now I've walked around here quite a lot because I just up from down the crags now. When I come down from the crags, I go down this road every other day, to be honest, sometimes. But every single time I'd have this feeling like, whoa, you know the feeling. It's like, whoa, whoa, it's right there, you know?
Whoa. So, maybe it's because you've walked here so often, maybe you get used to it, or maybe it's because you don't have like the thing where you think about things badly because you don't know the things, and now you know a ghoul, and now you don't feel awe.
Yeah, that sounds plausible. It's all right, everyone. It's probably that. Thanks.
How does
Regina.
it feel compared to Reginald's graveyard, since he has one of his own?
Unsettled.
Right.
It's as if it feels almost the opposite of how you thought graveyards should normally feel. I don't mean that it's bright and cheery, but it's sort of like walking into a room. Actually, this is a good example of it. Imagine a room that you lived in all your life, and then you're moving out, and so the room is emptied of all its stuff, and you walk into the room again. It has that feeling. It's not right? Like, I mean, it's there, it's the same room, it's the same space, but it doesn't feel the same. And that's what this feels like. It's not what you're used to.
Reginald, I have a question. We had that thing where they took the talisman from your graveyard, and we kind of all agreed that this was not a good thing. And we also had this thing at the temple where people wanted to rob graves, and everybody very obviously was also in agreement that this wasn't a good thing. For the talisman, I could see it because of the whole world destruction stuff. But, like, you know, can you really steal from dead people? I mean, it's not like they can possess anything.
The dead bodies themselves don't care. They're just meat. It's the spirits that get angry and can be kept tethered.
Okay, but they can't really, like, call the police, right?
Who are you gonna call?
Ghost
Flash
I don't know. Who do the ghosts call?
Like,
Me,
I mean,
apparently.
1-800-BEYOND?
Like, if you die, all you own gets distributed to other people because you can't own stuff anymore. So now that we're going to a place with like lots of graves, and before we arrive there, I would like to make sure that taking stuff from dead people is not stealing.
It's definitely stealing.
You sound really sure of this.
Remember the talisman?
Yes, but that was because of the whole world destruction thing and things being out of balance.
That was part of it.
I felt that was important.
The spirits moved on. They don't generally come back.
Okay,
But they might.
Is there a way to make sure they don't?
Don't steal from ghosts.
No, I mean, like, if
Just
the
points
ghost
at one.
was... If the ghost was right there... But
Don't steal from ghosts.
Reginald said they could go away.
Sorry, I was just trying to find a loophole to allow grave robbing. Oh, what has Celtic done to you?
Besides the question of morality, I'm pretty sure that grave robbing in Sepulchre is a pretty bad idea. it's protected by the caretakers and wouldn't want to mess with them, to be honest.
Huh. Okay,
Graveyard
I get that.
guardian.
I wouldn't want to get into trouble.
No, I knew a man once. Well, I knew him for a very brief period of time, actually, because I knew him and he went, Chwedl, he said, I'm going down now to Sepulchre. And I was like, what for? And he was like, oh, well, last time I was down there going to see my auntie. Well, not my auntie, because, she died back 3 years ago now. But I went to visit the grave. And you remember that lovely necklace I gave her, when she was alive? I thought, well, I'll have that back now. Give it to my other auntie. And I said, that's a bad idea. What the caretakers are like. Anyway, he went and took the necklace back. And I never saw him again.
Ooh. Maybe he sold it and went away to a warm place.
Yeah, that sounds actually right.
Some ghouls take the role of shepherding spirits to the afterlife. Literally. Body expendable.
Okay. So the
to some ghouls, you are all just meat, and the meat must be disposed of so that the spirit can proceed. They don't.
Weddle
often
takes out all of his collection of jerkies and meats. He's like, "That's right. I brought some substitute meats for them to take."
You're a really good prepared person, Weddle. Okay, so the caretakers just have an arbitrary rule against grave robbing. And as we're entering their city, we should abide by this. Is this the thing?
That's the best way to think of it. A city with laws. Just that citizens are mostly dead or ghouls.
Okay. Well, some laws are just stupid, but we still have to live with them. So, okay.
just gives you a look. you think he's not quite over the curse because it's definitely wooden.
As this banter continues, you catch sight, all of you, as you're closing in on the place. And for those of you who have, which is most of you who have not been here before, Sepulchre is a very, very impressive site. It is essentially a town of the dead. In fact, I believe I have a picture that I'll be able to show you. You have appropriately arrived, by the way, in the late afternoon, and so the sun is setting behind it as you come close. All right, and I'm going to put the picture up here on not on roll 20, sorry, on the stream. You see this. Now, you'll have to, it's not quite we have not reached the moon time yet, but that's what it looks like from a distance. These are very large mausoleums and buildings. So there are tombs, obviously, and gravestones, but there are also very tall and impressive looking buildings, because Sepulchre is very old. It's actually even older than the city itself. There are some who say that the great wizard himself built parts of it, and that there are places where the great wizard can reside and will someday be seen again, even though other people dismiss that as nonsense and the wizard is gone and all that. But in any case, it is a very dramatic, impressive looking place, even from a distance. But what you notice first as you're kind of moving close and up to it is there is a woman of upper middle age who is sitting on a low, crumbling stone wall by the side of the road, which leads up to the southern gate of Sepulchre. And a wooden cart, like a somewhat overlarge wheelbarrow, stands forlornly nearby, its bulky load covered with a whitish tarp. And the woman is humming and muttering to herself while shaking her head. Quite suddenly, she turns her gaze in your direction, and she waves a hand, beckoning you over. "Oi, you lot! You come to find me, have you? Oh, makes no never minds. Come here and do old auntie a service, will you? I haven't needed aid making my run to the graveyard in many a year, but take me if I don't today. And you children look like you'll do with a pinch. Oh, come on now." Now, the only one of you who might know who this is Hweddle. Hweddle, now I know you said you passed through Villadoc on numerous occasions. Would you say that you ever stopped in the taverns or got to know people? Like, is it one of those things where you you went to the airport for 5 minutes each time, but you never actually left and got out into the village? Or would you say you were actually in Villadoc itself for a while here and there?
He's a minstrel, so he will have hung around, done some gigs.
Okay. Then I think you would probably know who this is. Almost certainly, this is the Mystic of Villadoc. Now, the Mystic is a very powerful magical figure, really a legend among the villagers of this place. No one knows how old she is. No one knows a whole lot about her, except that she moves in strange and mysterious ways, and that those who defy her don't do it for long.
Does Hweddle know her name other than Mystic?
Her name is always, she asks everyone to call her Auntie.
Right. You just go straight over then. Oh, Auntie! How's it going?
Ah! It's you! The minstrel, eh? Are you still playing that thing you call a stringed instrument now, are you? You're looking a little bit wooden, child. Is there any reason for that?
Oh, nothing gets past you, does it, Auntie? Well, I nearly got turned into a little wooden doll, and I would have loved that because you could have carved me into a little Kruth. I'm glad that you've remembered about that. So many people think that it's like a lute or something, but it's more like a type of bowed lyre. I know you've never made that mistake, of course. And I thought if I'd been turned into a wooden doll, they could have turned me into, carved me into one. But we managed to solve the curse in the end, so now I'm back to being me. I was like this big, you'd never believe, or even smaller.
Well, that's good that you managed to overcome your own stupidity. Oh, don't take that the wrong way. Everyone's stupid at a certain age. I'm glad that you were able to overcome it. Otherwise, probably news would got back to me, and they would have said, "Oh, Auntie, could you go and help the minstrel? We're so bored here, Auntie. We need someone to sing us music." And that would not have been good. So I'm glad that you managed it. And I see you brought your friends with you, too. How nice. Let's see. We've got... And she kind of peers at you and kind of like narrows her eyes like, "Well, that's a troll, sure as I live. And behind that, we've got, let's see. Well, is that a porcupine? No, it's a sprite, actually." And sort of looks at you with all of your bristling spears and javelins, Regina. And then she says, "Oh, and a shepherd of the dead, is it? Well, is that not exactly what I might have expected? It's about people like you that the problems all have come. Well, all right, tell me your names, don't take all day."
I incline my head and I'm Reginald Shoon. Pleased to make your acquaintance.
And she kind of nods.
All right, and what about the two of you?
Lump just sort of waves a bit like, "Lump." And he points over to Elette. "Elette." And Elette just sort of waves quietly.
And she kind of looks and she says,
"I see. You don't look like you've spent much time on the road, dearie."
And she kind of looks at Elette. Elette sort of kind of looks all at you and, I haven't, but I'm trying to learn."
"Well, all right. If you're going to fall in with an adventuring party, you might learn that you should have stayed home, but it'll be too late to pick up the lesson, because you'll be getting put in your place by this one."
She points at Reginald. And then she coughs a little bit. And she says,
"Right, Lump. And I already know Hweddle. And Reginald Choon. And what about you?"
And she looks at you, Regina.
Regina peers at her suspiciously and then really fast says, "Regina Augusta III."
"Well, dearie, how fast do you think you need to go? You acted like you needed to say that name fast before someone else took it from you. I could do that, too, if I wanted to, mind, but I don't. No reason to do so. You look like you're either compensating for something or you're a very powerful warrior. Are you?
Why do people see that somebody is small and think they need to compensate? We don't need to compensate.
No. I'm not talking about your size. I'm talking about the number of spears you're carrying. Most people get along with 1 or 2. You got a bunch of them on your back.
Well, they get lost.
And she
all the time.
She nods slowly.
I see. Well, I'm glad you got as many pointed sticks as you could handle then. In fact, you're going to need all of that, although not right now, I don't think. The truth is, and she looks you get the impression that she's a little annoyed that she's having to ask for help at all, and she says, well, last week, the mayor's Aunt Nandine passed on, so I goes down to fetch him down to their family plot. Whenever someone goes, I do 'em this last little kindness. Whatever I thought of 'em. We're all the same under the skin, after all. And what do I smells when I get there? Evil. Flat evil and walking death, and make no mistake. And none of the shepherds around to help me with none either. Well, I couldn't walk old Non into that mess, so I sent out word for aid, and here you are.
When she says she smells evil, Reginald sniffs the air.
I would say that you don't necessarily sniff it here. So the way that it's supposed to work is that the necropolis itself pulses with evil. The outside wall is supposed to pulse with evil, but inside it, that's basically just a stay out if you don't belong here. Once you get past it, it's supposed to be all smooth sailing until you get up to the sepulcher itself. So right now you do detect, you don't actually sense any evil here, which, as I mentioned, is strange because this outer part near the gate is where you're supposed to sense evil. She seems to be saying that when she went to bury Auntie Non in there, that that spot where she was trying to bury them pulsed evil instead, while there's no evil here, which is weird.
Okay.
Well, that is strange, because I was just saying now, just to this lot, just now I was saying, I was thinking that they used to feel a lot more evil, and actually it's feeling pretty nice right now out here anyway.
That's
a
right.
bit strange.
That is strange, and it's not right. There's supposed to be something to keep people from wandering in there. Grave robbers. There's people who actually want to go and take things from people's bodies. They make up all kinds of excuses as to why, too. Oh, it's terrible. Why, some people these days don't understand the true reason why we leave the dead as they are. Can you imagine? They make up excuses and come up with ideas as to why they should take these people's things. It's amazing, it is.
And she kind of looks at all of you, shaking her head.
Yeah, well, you remember old David, don't you? Little David, never saw him again after he went after Gillian's necklace.
Oh, well, he sold it and went to one of the southern islands, dearie, to stay warm. That's all. It was fine.
And
so
she...
You said there was no caretakers. Have you seen them since? Are they all scarpered?
Well, that's the weird thing, you see. The shepherds now, they live in the north part of the graveyard, where the aura of death stinks up the place. But they keeps a tidy house, they does, and the dead don't go willfully walking under their watch, and they's always done right by me, I'll say for free. Well, the caretaker's an honest sort. He does his duty and minds his business, which is more than can be said for most. But I haven't seen him now for nigh on 2 weeks. And he wasn't there to protect anyone or to help me when I went in on that gate. Now, perhaps I could have dealt with it, but I don't want to mess with the dead. Things can go wrong if you start imbalancing the living and the dead, they can. And, well, it's supposed to feel evil out here and nice and calm inside when you do the burying, and now it's all backwards.
Illette looks, by the way, Lump, quite like very much has been doing a lot of side eye to you and sort of like looking up at the necropolis beyond.
In fairness, like Saber said in chat, the first place we took her was a goddamn necropolis. So
loyalty, -0, -5.
We have such sights to show you.
I can show you the dead. Okay. So anyway, so she says, so I need help. And if you're going to help me, well, you should get right to it and find out what's happening. You, and she points at you, Reginald, she says, now I don't want to assume, but is it fair to say that you too are a shepherd of the dead?
It is my sacred duty.
Well, it's my sacred duty to get these people from the living into the world of the dead, and it's your sacred duty to help. So I'd say we got 2 sacred duties here. And she looks at the rest of you and she says, what about you? You got any sacred duties? You want to protect these people? No grave robbing types among you, I expect.
Just normal duty, no sacred duty.
I don't have duties.
And she nods slowly, holding your gaze, and then says,
all right then. Well, you know this village a little bit, Hweddle. Do you want to help make sure that the dead reach their proper resting place?
Yes, of course. And I've always wanted to go into Sepulchre. As you know, there's some people who say falsely that the some of the buildings in there have been made by the Great Wizard himself, who, as you know, is a lie made up by the elves. So I thought I'd go and have a gander around, have a quick, little look and see if I could see some signs of, I suspect, late Neo-Dwarven architecture in there. But while we're in there and having a little go around, looking for no doubt what we will find Dwarven architecture that has been misappropriated and our hard work and history stolen from us. But I won't bore you with those.
Well, that's too late, dearie. If you
and she's
that's too late, dearie. If you'd hurry up, we can get moving. I didn't need to know your whole family history, And
she starts getting up. Now, you remember, of course, Hweddle, that the auntie has never been one who either suffers fools or even non-fools who talk gladly. So this is pretty much
Reginald would
par
just
for the
like
course.
to lean over to Hweddle and just go, please don't lick any graves.
I'll do my best.
Promise nothing.
All right, well, I'm just going to move you folks just up to there so we can see that you are now heading to Sepulchre. Okay, so she leads you along after more or less asking, very strongly suggesting, implying, demanding that Lump actually help with the wagon and actually push it along. And again, I want to emphasize that, of course, at any time you could say no to this person. It's just she's sort of a force of nature, like, why would you ever not help me? Like, obviously you should do that, type of thing.
Lump isn't even going to ask for payment.
Like, he's just going to pick it up, yeah. And so the wagon, and clearly there is what appears to be a body in the back of it, and brings you to the southern gate. Now I have...
Sorry, look, as they're walking, Lump's Alette's probably freaked out. She's like, is that a real body? And he's like, not even my first body. At least there's a cart with this one.
These are true facts. Yeah, Alette is a little disturbed. Is going along with you because she's also heard rumors, of course, of Sepulchre and all that, but never has seen it face to face. I mean, you certainly have shown her something different than what she's usually seen, but her eyes are quite wide as she continues along.
So her loyalty's like 1 million now, right?
1 million to 1 that she won't stay. No.
Ooh, maps.
All right. I am bringing you here to what is more popularly known as the Southern Plot. This is an area, basically, of Sepulchre. This is, of course, just one small portion of Sepulchre, which is dedicated, as I said, sort of a city of the dead. But this is where a lot of the villagers typically lay their dead to rest in these areas here. And so as the party is going up, it's important to note a little bit that as you're sort of moving up to this gate, all the way up to here, basically, and I'll actually bring in your characters. Give me a second. Cut and paste time. No, don't do that. Okay, good. I was really worried it was going to open up a page I did not want to open. You don't need to see that. I don't need to see my Google Calendar. Okay.
Don't need to see the Mystic's final form.
Exactly. Not that. Okay. There we go. So now you're here. And I should also probably bring out, now that I think of it, remind me, do me a favor, Mike, and remind me at some point. I'll make a token of Illet. But in the meantime, I'm going to see if I can. Okay. No.
Now we play Hunt the Asset.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, there is actually there is a barmaid asset, which is kind of funny for the low price of
$9.99.
Yeah, no, seriously, it always happens. Nope. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to be super speedy, and I'm going to make this happen. Right. Okay. Pull open that token tool. All right. There's token tool, and we do a circle, and then we bring in. We use, because I have her picture somewhere. I have it here.
Oh, you're actually making a token for it. I thought you'd just be like, and this splodge is Illet.
No. Nope. Because I can do it quickly. He said. I think. Maybe okay, no, I don't have her picture. Never mind, then I'll have to do it later. Okay, so then I will just have to do the blob. But remind me, and I'll do a proper one. Okay. So no, instead we're just gonna do a commoner. I'm just gonna do a commoner for the moment for Illet.
Illet is disgusted.
Yeah, no, Illet is
We've lost 2 loyalty.
Illet is displeased. How dare you just assume that I'm someone? Okay.
I'm gonna need to read up really heavily on how followers work.
Okay. Here we go. There we go. So there is Illet, and I will give her.
She's a titan.
Exactly. I will give her a name. All right. Nameplate controlled by Mike. Okay. Now you should have control over Illet, I believe. Okay. So, hey, what's up, Dragon? Okay. So now we're all good. So you're at this southern gate, and as you kind of move up to the gate, you can feel that up to the gate continues to have this sort of neutral aura. Like it just doesn't. It feels like whatever. It just feels like normal. It just always feels like this if you were walking in the normal countryside or whatever. So it definitely does not feel at the moment like anything that is standing out in a particular way, which seems a little, again, strange. But that said, you are here standing at the southern gate. And as Auntie walks up, she pushes the sort of gate open, and she says, "All right, now, you need to go make sure the coast is clear before I go any further. I don't want anyone desecrating this body. And frankly, I'd rather not have anyone desecrating this mule. You know how hard it is to get a real donkey." And you realize, Lump, that the wagon that you've been pushing also has a donkey in the front of it. Sort of flop-eared and kind of
just
moth.
Pushing the donkey as well.
Basically, you've been pushing the wagon with the donkey in front of it. And this seems to be totally normal to the Mystic. So she says, "I'm just going to leave it outside this gate." And the gate opens. And she points you to a little bit further, basically into the area. Now, you don't see anything yet, But she basically suggests that the plot that you're looking for, the grave plot, is over here. So I'll ping that again. In that general area is where you're supposed to be bringing this thing.
Reginald steps through the gate and then just stops and looks really thoughtful.
When you step in to inside this gate, you are immediately feel to your bones, Reginald, the aura which is pulsing is deeply malevolent. Just like a kind of sort of almost nauseating sense of disruption that passes through your body regularly.
How does it compare to the swamps that we crossed?
It doesn't. I don't think it feels that much like that. Because this feels almost what you would have expected. For example, the sepulcher, from everything you've heard, has this sort of evil aura that surrounds it, right? And so you would have expected that maybe further on. But the sort of neutral aura that we've talked about before, the kind of feeling of just everything sort of normal, that immediately passes when you enter the gate. And if they're to be believed, this is not where you would expect to feel this. So it doesn't feel kind of corrupted or warped, but it does feel as if it belongs somewhere else, this feeling, as if the feeling should not be where you are standing.
This doesn't feel as my parents described it. They always described it.
And she says, I could have told you that. From the other side.
You knew them?
Well, what were their names?
I don't actually remember. Damn it. Walked into that one. Roger and Ruby.
Roger and Ruby. Yes, they always loved the letter R, didn't they? Yes, I think I remember them. Bunch of children.
Now, of course,
They
Reginald.
left here
Yeah.
many years ago. I was born in the city 124 years ago.
And she nods slowly and she says,
Not a long time for children, really.
You also think you hear, Reginald, just somewhere in the distance, some shuffling.
Okay. I sniff the air.
Let's see. I don't think I would love to give you a chance to use your new notice test, but I don't even think you need to do a test. You definitely get the stench. I mean, there is there is somewhat of a scent, although the stench is not. I don't know how to describe it. It feels as if you were walking through a store and someone had put on a candle of, I am inside a candle store now. Like, it feels very much like, yes, it's the stench of death, as if someone put on the candle, now play stench of death. It doesn't belong here, Reginald.
Okay. This doesn't smell right. This doesn't smell like a graveyard I know of should. I mean, the rotting was expected.
I was going to say it smells exactly like I expected it to smell, to be honest. Ugh.
When you've spent 100 years tending a graveyard, you notice these things.
Yeah, that's fair. Chwaddle is preparing to walk in whenever Lump is ready.
Yeah, that's fair. Lump walks in, probably with Weddle and Alette following reasonably close in tow.
Yeah, Alette, who is feeling she's like, this feels, this doesn't feel right. You say, it's supposed to feel wrong then, isn't it? It's a graveyard.
feels weird, wronger.
The living are often uncomfortable around the dead. But even then, something feels off.
Lump looks over to Alette and sort of motions at the gate and says, "You want wait there?"
And she says, right, yeah, I'll be right here. But if you need to make anyone feel better about things, you just call me. Or if you need me to sneak past things. Otherwise, I'll guard the donkey. And she looks over and
no God, stay safe.
Oh, right. All right. I'll just stay safe then. And she looks and like the auntie just kind of gives her this like stare the whole way as she's walking over, as Alette tries not to notice. Okay, so you're now moving up towards where the plot is, I assume. How do you want to go as the four of you have entered?
Right behind you, Lump.
I want to pout after Reginald.
Do we know
Where is everyone?
Have we been told where we're going?
There's except that she's been trying to get things to this plot here.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was like, well, just go in, take the first left, you can't miss it.
Yeah, no, it's similar. I mean, like that, she kind of makes it as to where that actually should theoretically be.
Okay, sweet.
And that's where people have been bothering her.
His normal sort of fist walking along the ground. He's just walking normally along this path, presumably with everybody else in tow behind him.
Okay.
This was supposed to be the largest settlement of ghouls in the realm, but I don't see them.
Pretty quiet.
This would be like if we went back to the city and it was abandoned. And also full of graves.
And a bit stinky.
Well, it is the city. It's hard to keep a city clean.
And with a passive-aggressive auntie.
Makes a change from an actually aggressive sprite.
I don't believe in passiveness.
Lump does.
Lump pacifist.
Okay, Lump, when you get to just about where you are, and Regina, you're coming up behind
Yes.
Because I know you're back at the gate at the moment.
Yeah, I'd say Reginald's lagging behind a little bit because he's never been before, and this is basically, like the saying goes, sooner or later all ghouls will visit Sepulchre. So he's looking around. He's trying to compare what he's seeing to the stories he was told by his parents, Roger and Ruby.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. I mean, how can we ever forget Roger and Ruby?
Yeah, so he's overlaying the two, and he's just the things just aren't lining up. Like all the angles are wrong mentally, and things are not matching to what he had been told. And of course that absolutely it doesn't quite match, and that once you're inside the graveyard, again, the reason that it's supposed to be that outside thing is just mostly to keep grave robbers away. Once you get past that original section and you're just into the graveyard proper, it's supposed to be just a normal everyday thing because people have a job to do, and like that's what Sepulchre's all about. And the fact that it continues this evil feeling. Oh my God! What the fuck?
What the heck just happened?
Mike?
Was that? What the heck was that?
It wasn't me.
It might have been me. I'm not 100% certain on that one. Let me just double check something. Sorry, I'm going to mute myself for a second.
No, it's fine. That was definitely not the tone I was expecting for the graveyard.
No, carry on like I'm not here.
Anyway, So as you're walking into this place, the feeling, I heard that from my kitchen. Yeah, I know, it was a little loud. So it's the happiest graveyard in hell. Yay! You can feel the sort of the oppressiveness of this place continuing to come through. And as you get close, you look very carefully at the graveyard plot itself. And you can see where there are a couple of overturned or upturned, I guess it should be, dirt that's been dug out of the top. Clearly, that was presumably Auntie was starting to do the work of doing this. But the shovel has been abandoned and is lying by the grave. And suddenly, as a kind of cloud is rolled in, I mentioned that it was late afternoon, and a darkness has kind of taken over this graveyard. And you hear suddenly a as a door opens. And coming out from this sort of largish tomb, crypt here, you see the following, a picture, which I'm going to show you on chat.
Just as that door opened, there was a very distant wolf howl on the Roll20 music, or atmospheric.
All part of my plan. Totally intended. Okay. So, and you see this emerging out of this area. You see what looks like a group of undead creatures. And there's a number of them. In fact, there are 7 in all. There are what look like 2 your basic garden variety skeletons. There are what look like 2 lemurs. You've actually dealt with lemurs before. These are creatures that are basically recently undead. They often look a little bit like zombies, but Reginald, you've had to deal with some of them because they sometimes are confused because they're only recently dead, so they don't actually know that they're dead sometimes, and these seem to be quite angry. And you also have a group of creatures that are walking forward, and that look to be, they have greenish skin. You can see that there are breaks and holes in the skin, and you can see a kind of greenish cloud that's sort of emanating around them. A putrid zombie, not just a zombie, but a putrid zombie of some kind. And last, but certainly not least, coming out and emerging and heading towards you directly, you see a wispy white, ethereal almost form of what looks like a human woman, but her eyes are completely white. Her hair, which is gray, floats as if it were a cloud in the moonlight. And as she looks at you, her face contorts into an angry sneer. You are dealing with a group of the undead. So let me fire up the graveyard music, and let's fire up a little bit of combat music.
So this definitely
well.
counts as a violent encounter with undead strangers, then?
That would be the case, I think.
Oh, okay.
Not strangers,
just
even.
asking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if it was a non-violent encounter, they like me a bit better.
Yeah, that's right. No, these ones look like they're actually they're almost driven into the attack. Which is sort of strange.
I shouldn't have brought some living with me.
They just never understand. Okay, so let's get a few creatures here out on the board. We have got, first of all, don't need any more lets right now, thank you. Okay, first of all, we have got, yep, that's what I'm looking for. All right. No, I don't
Hopefully our 2 brawlier members of the party have learned some lessons about punching potentially non-corporeal entities over the course of our adventures.
Haven't learned anything so far, won't start today.
Fair. To be fair.
I didn't see how we could have learned anything from that. Like,
You lose your javelins when you try?
When in doubt, pick up the nearest human and run around in circles.
but it's
Fortunately,
like
none of us have that problem.
It's exactly what I led.
Lump all the way back to get
Just running around with a let.
Yeah.
So, turns out I've gotten that was me, that noise. That the happiest graveyard in the world. That definitely, that music was me. So turns out I was listening to some music downstairs. Long story short, it had started playing my Spotify account, but through my gaming PC because the house is just interconnected, and my gaming PC pipes all music through the audio out. So it was just like, remember when you were listening to the tavern music from Icewind Dale? When you were cooking, and I'm just like, the hell was that noise?
And that's what that was. Well,
yep, that's what that was.
Now
you are welcome. Anytime you need impromptu sounds or music that you didn't ask for and I didn't know was queued up, I'm your man.
And yes, I agree, imaginary exponent. Taking living to an encounter with the undead's polite, appropriate to bring snacks while visiting. Yeah, I mean, that's...
I brought the requested gift of meats.
All right.
We all just do a slow turn to Reginald.
Reginald just shrugs, goes, worth a try.
All right. So we have a couple of these putrid zombies. We have a couple of skeletons. We have a couple of these lemurs.
Goddamn, I now have to catch up with what I wasn't paying attention to a second ago because I was debugging that weird sound issue. So we opened the crypt and now something wants to kill us, right?
It opened itself.
It opened itself and now many
just
dead
making
things.
really sure nobody
have
opened that crypt.
Was it some fresh zombies, a noxious zombie, some kind of spirit, and what was the other things? Let's?
A lemur. There's actually two lemurs. There is 2 putrid zombies, 2 skeletons, and of course, where would we be without a specter of some kind?
In a better Bond film?
Like that.
Hey. Lump just looks over at Reginald. Friends?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Can't fight then.
I think that's necessary.
Okay. So, as you will recall, for folks who are not familiar with the Talisman system, combat actually happens simultaneously, and so the party gets to decide how they wish to position themselves, and then they get to decide how they're going to engage in their attack. And some of the enemies will end up attacking them in the process of them being attacked, so it all happens at the same time. Any creature that is not engaged will then take action towards the end of that round. So, having said all of that, let's begin with the first stage here, which is to say positioning and all that sort of thing. So, let's talk a little bit about, there's no surprise test I think that's necessary here. So the question is, how does the party want to target and do what they want to do?
Quick question. Drinking a potion, that's an action, yes?
I believe so, but let me check.
Okay.
I think it is an action. Let me check. All right, potion. Boop, doop, doo. Not position. I almost thought it said potion in combat. I was like, there's actually position in combat, which is, to be clear, not the same thing. Okay. Right. Yeah, I think it's just a time thing. So I think it would require you to use the potion, yeah. Like as an action, yes.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, right.
So what would the party like to do? Who's going to attack whom? Who's going to go first and do which?
I would like to just advise everyone, the spirit can probably not be engaged with weapons or fists.
Huddle would like to go first.
Okay.
All right. So what else up first? Who's next?
I would like to go second because I mean, I can see that a few of them are stinky guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which ones are those? I can't really.
Those,
Can you see them?
I can actually put, if you want, plates, name plates for these guys. So this one is an actual, that is
Stinky
a
guy.
lemur. There we go.
A
And
lemur is a nocturnal animal that lives on Madagascar.
I know. I keep trying to pronounce it differently because a lemur
I
is
have
that.
no clue.
A lemur is what
Put
you
a
just
link.
described. And so
Yeah, I think I found the actual entity it's based on.
there is actually a lemur in the Talisman board game as well. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that could be.
There's one, and there's another one. Skeleton. And then back here, we've got
Yeah, no.
the putrid zombie. Oops, wait. No.
Yep, there we go.
cancel.
Lemurs may represent the wandering and vengeful spirits of those not afforded proper burial, funeral rites, or affectionate cult by the living. Told you, bury your dead properly. And don't
If we
rob
kill
from
them, it's not.
Always
If we
recycle.
kill them, it's not grave robbery. It's looting.
Okay,
I suppose if we
this one.
take what they drop, it's not grave robbing.
Okay, and
We're
last
gonna.
one.
We're gonna
It's not in a
check on that.
grave. You're not grave
Yeah,
robbing.
exactly,
You're just
right.
ordinary
Yeah,
robbing.
they just went
Yeah.
outside, and if they
Regular
take their
robbing.
stuff with them,
Yeah.
Okay, now you're all good to go. You should be able to see the names there. They're a little clustered together at the moment, but that will change.
okay. So where do I can't see. Okay, maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I don't see which
I'm
ones
not
are the stinky
seeing-
guys.
I'm not seeing any names.
Yeah.
You're not seeing any names?
Nope. Nothing.
Um,
Maybe on stream. Yeah, on stream I can
see
see
it on
them.
stream. That's weird. Can you
But
try?
it's
Can
still-
you try reloading? Because it should be visible to everybody.
Wow.
Whoop, whoop.
No.
I can see my
That's-
own name tag.
Let me try reloading my own then. Hang on a second.
Can you just maybe give them an aura from the color thingy?
I can try to do that. Let me see if that did anything.
Like,
All right,
Oh,
I've
it's
reloaded
about-
now.
okay,
Can you
okay.
see anything
I
now?
shall also reload mine.
Nope.
Just to see.
Why
nothing.
does it not show that? It should be visible to everybody.
No, nothing. And I can only see my name tag, mine and Alette's name tag. Unless it's my. could
Oh,
be
all right,
mine.
let's see. Can you see that now
Yes.
on Spectre, the one I just did,
Yes.
I can
no,
see
on
Lemure.
Lemure.
or the
I see
lemur?
Lemure.
Okay, so you now see you see the nameplate then.
Yes.
Yes.
On the Lemure.
Okay.
Lemur.
All right,
Then
now
we
you
may have
should
found
see
the
the
next
Spectre.
Phasmophobia ghost type.
Okay, yeah, there's a new permission thing I didn't see from before. Okay, do you see the Spectre now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, now you should
And
see
now
one of the
Be.
putrid.
Zombie.
You should see one of the putrid zombies now.
Yes.
So the blue circle ones are the putrid ones.
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that's
Um,
okay.
Okay, this guy is the lemur. Oh, you already saw that one. Okay. This guy is also a lemur. There's that one. Okay.
hmm
And then we've got the skeleton number 1, skeleton number 2. Okay, and I think that's all of them.
Yes.
There should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 creatures on the board total. I think.
8 creatures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Seven
Two
creatures. Sorry, yeah, 2
skeletons.
skeletons, 2 lemurs, 2 putrid zombies, a specter, and a partridge in a pear tree. Okay.
Yep, that's it.
Great. All right. So Huedel is going first. Regina, you said you were going second, or no?
Yes, I would like to go second.
Okay. Lumpen, Reginald.
Well, I don't know if Reginald's got something tucked up his sleeve.
I mean, I think it goes without saying that I'll probably be focusing on the Spectre, since I can psychic attack.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's a definite moment where Lump looks at Reginald and goes, "You take air ghost, we'll take flesh ghosts."
Okay.
Agreed.
Okay.
All right. Well then, Huedel, you are up first. What would you like to do?
Huddle would like to cast Black Ice, please.
Okay, so black ice, which allows you to cover a patch of ground in invisible black ice, 3 meters by 3 meters. By the way, each of these squares is 1 meter, and I think a meter is like 3.5 feet, something like that. So something along those lines. So you're going to be able to cover an area, and then these creatures will fall prone. And they can move at half speed. Okay, so where are you going to place it? You're gonna want to draw this. Once you have a chance to, you got to actually cast it and all that. But once you're cast, you'll have to think about where to actually place it. So just be thinking about that, Weddle. And then let's see. So for this one, this is going to be difficulty 11. I think is what we're looking at. So I'm going to be casting the spell. So you're going to be making a spell casting test.
Yep, and that is 3d6 plus my craft. Plus my resolve. Doesn't matter, they're both the same. Cool. 3d6.
Okay. So
if you have a focus in this kind of spell casting, you also get a +2.
Right.
Right, spellcaster Reginald?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, well, 21 then.
So 21 will absolutely pass the test. So now you can indeed cover a patch of ground in this invisible black ice, nearly invisible. So can you like freehand it, or just tell me like if you can freehand it using Roll20, or you can just tell me roughly where you want it to be, I guess. Either way.
Can you see what I've drawn on there?
Yes. Okay. And let's see. One thing it does not say is you can cover a patch of ground is where, like, how far out the range is for this patch of ground.
I've found in my experience most spells are line of sight and not maximum range.
Yeah, it looks like that. Okay. So you're going to basically cast it underneath them, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does anything cool happen with spells if you roll a great success or an extraordinary success?
Well, actually, when you cast a spell, when you're actually doing that, a spell that gets cast has certain effects. So let me jump to combat to talk about that. So when you're, even though you're not using it against somebody, but okay. So when you're using a spell that is cast, if you get a standard success, and actually let's see, 5 plus 3 plus 5, so you actually get a great success, which basically just means the spell takes full effect with no side effects. If it was just a standard success, then there would have been a side effect to it, but otherwise that is not the case here, so it just goes off without any problem. It does use a spell point, so you're down to 5 out of 6, Weddle. But otherwise, there is now ice on the ground, and we're going to talk about the effect that that has on these creatures momentarily. Okay. Which means, that's good stuff. Are you going to move, or where are you moving, I guess I should ask, well.
I'm right back here, thanks.
You're going to stay back where you are?
Yeah, this is great. I love it here.
Okay. Right. So, let's see. We'll come back to the effect that that has on them in a moment. All right. Good stuff. I think next up was Regina, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. And although all of you could have sworn she did not have a book in her hand just a moment before, she suddenly slams the book shut and shouts, "Ha!" And I would like to spend one of my 2 light fate to get my tactician rolls in.
All right. Seems reasonable. So, you're going to be down to 1 out of 8 light fate now.
Yes, and I roll 3d6.
Okay.
Which are 3, 3, and 4. And I can now replace rolls I make in combat with those ones.
Okay.
Each roll.
Right, so each of those 3 dice. And then when they're all used up, that's it, right?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so 1, 3, 1,
I mean,
3,
they're
1,
not
4.
amazing, but they're better.
No,
than
that's
anything.
that's fine. Right. Okay, so you did that.
Yes, and the smelly ones look like something people don't want to touch, so I'm gonna throw a javelin at the closest one, the one standing before the other one, like that one, exactly that one. Whoever did that, thank you.
Okay. Right. So we're talking a ranged attack then.
Yes, we're talking a ranged attack. I just need to see because it's just my agility bonus on the attack, which is now 6 plus 2, so it's 3d6 plus 8.
Okay.
Okay. If I have not overlooked any things, and I don't think... No, all of this goes onto damage. Okay, roll.
Wow.
I take that. I will not change that.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's how we like to call it a great success in the business. Inflict full damage on your target. Your opponent does not get an action, so that'll be important to remember that one does not get an action. You were attacking on this one. Okay, go ahead and roll your damage. It was on the stinky guy, right, that you were doing this on, you said?
Yes.
The front one.
So now the question is whether two-weapon fighting actually works on ranged weapons. It doesn't say melee, but the description makes it quite clear that they mean melee.
No, they mean melee.
I thought so.
Yeah.
So it's just 1d6 plus my physical damage modifier.
Okay.
Okay, 1d6 plus physical damage modifier. Pop. 10.
Okay. So let's see. 10. Let's see what that does. Okay, so there is a terrible sound as the javelin embeds in the creature, and it's awesome. Like strikes his mighty blow, and it kind of looks down at it and doesn't actually do anything, just keeps walking forward while this thing is just sticking out of it as it goes. You did clearly damage it, though. There's no question. It just doesn't seem to be like, it's not, in quotes, in pain. It's just walking forwards towards you. But you have indeed hit it. Where are you going to direct yourself? Where do you want to position yourself?
Let's see. I'm currently behind. I don't need to be like that behind. I'll go here.
All right. That sounds good. And that's going to lead us to, I think, Lump was next. Reginald was last, or was it, or the other way around?
I think so. I'm not sure. I'm looking at Darksaber to see if he nods or shakes his head.
I'll go last.
Okay, cool.
All right, Lump.
Right. Oh no. The problem with maps is I have to figure out what my movement is.
Each square is a meter, if that helps.
I run up to the enemy. Rah! How far can I move? It's agility, so it's something plus agility, isn't it? 10 plus agility, so 13?
Right, 13, and I'm guessing 13 would be probably 1 meter per...
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, so I could go to about here-ish if I wanted to step in the black ice.
Yeah, let's take a look at... Yeah, and you actually don't know, I think, that there is necessarily no, although I guess Huetel might have, like, yelled out, I'm putting down black ice, I suppose is a possibility. So...
even that, well, I'm not going to go in recklessly for once.
Okay.
Because last time he went in recklessly against Wibbly Ghost enemies, he everything nearly went horribly wrong. So I reckon I'm not going to be able to reach an enemy this turn. Unless I stand here. Because then I can reach a skeleton. I think. Is that skeleton on this? That skeleton's on that.
That is, yes, indeed.
Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Nah, screw it. I'm going to stop there.
Yeah, that's right. A number of meters equal to your speed. Okay, good.
Yep.
Okay, now, couple things. So, let's see. So basically what this means is that if you're aware of the black ice, then you can move at half speed over it. So you could run up and basically get to that area, I think, where you'd have to sort of slow down to half speed. However, there is a little bit of an issue, Lump, which is that when you enter that area and you get within a few meters of the putrid zombie, you are suddenly aware of a horrific stench, a terrible, far worse stench. I like to use the example of the thing which I think smells worst in the world, and that is rotting pasta. If you have never smelled the worst smelling thing of all time, which is like pasta that gets stuck down a garbage disposal or that, you threw out in the garbage and forgot to take out, it's horrific. Let me tell you, it's awful. So that means that I'm going to use a Dark Fate, and I'm going to trigger Putrid Stench, which means that you are going to have to make a Fortitude, a metal test specifically.
Would this be against poison by any chance?
Triffid knows what I'm talking about. It's bad. Is this within poison? No, I would say it is not against poison.
Okay, cool. So, Fortitude test. So, 3d6. What's my aspect? Metal. There you go. Let's go with the 14. Dark Fate for the GM.
So let's see. A 14 is enough. So you and let's see. That is a standard success. So what that means is you maintain your composure, but you are momentarily sickened. And so what that means, Lump, is that your damage is going to be reduced by half this round.
Excellent. Good. Glad I'm not a damage dealer. Okay, cool. So
2 nausea fighting. That's what you need to work on.
Oh god!
Yeah.
He's like one hand. That is actually, to be fair, one hand over his mouth, the other hand just balling up like this.
Yeah. It's like 2 organ fighting, basically.
So I can reach the skeleton, right?
2 nostril fighting. Yes, you can.
Cool. I'm gonna try and attack the skeleton. Now let me try and remember how I attack. I do this every session. I only had a session last week.
I can help you out if you need. It's a melee.
It's good. I drew myself a flowchart.
Okay.
Because I was bored at work. Let's go here and here. So, am I attacking? Yes. Roll 3d6. Add my brawn. Add 2 for my focus in melee. Excellent.
Does Reginald get extra bad nausea? That's a good question. It may not affect him by the time he gets there.
22, and it's a great success.
Okay. So, a 22, which is a great success, means a complete success. Full damage on your target character. The other one does not get an action. All right.
Cool.
So, you may strike away.
1d6 plus my brawn.
Yep.
Plus 2 for two-handed master.
You'll be happy to know that skeletons which are resistant to blades are not resistant to troll fists.
They're not resistant to fist. That's 14 points of damage.
Okay. Let's see. 14 points of damage. Yeah, you just literally just shatter it into bone. Just
Nice.
You smash it, and it shatters.
Excellent.
And breaks apart, and you are covered in bone for a minute. Just,
Just with one hand. Just like...
Okay. So, good stuff there from Lump. That's going to lead us to Reginald, who's going next. So, you've got a specter, you've got 2 putrid zombies, a skeleton, 2 lemurs, a vaguely sickened troll, and a patch of black ice, and a partridge in a pear tree again.
Okay, so Reginald's going to lower his hood, which I hope is a free action. If not, it stays up.
Yes, it's a free action. I'm going to use a Dark Fate to make it use like 5 actions. Dramatically.
Instructions unclear, disrobed. He's going to gather his mental faculties and engage the Spectre in psychic combat, unleashing a mental blast in its direction across the psychic plane.
All right. So, as you're going to make that, as you can initiate that psychic attack. Okay, go ahead and roll your attack. Let's see how we're going to
I'm going to throw in a light fate for good measure.
Okay.
Okie dokie. And I have attack focus in psychic skill, so that's a +7 in total. And holy guacamole, I'm dropping that 6.
Wow. That is that's very impressive. Your psychic combat here is
That's a yes.
great success. In fact, it's more than that.
It's
It's an extraordinary success.
Yeah.
So not only do you inflict full damage, you also cause your opponent additional harm. I think what I'm going to say for this is that this is going to... I think we're going to say that this is going to stun the Spectre. It means they will not be able to attack back this turn. And in fact, they won't be able to move either. They're going to stay where they are. So damage, and they are stunned for a turn.
Excellent. So damage would be 1d6 +7, so that would be 13 damage at max damage.
Okay, 13 damage. So yeah, so you still do roll. It's not double damage. You still do roll the damage. It's just it doesn't get halved or anything because as a consequence. So you can.
Oh, okay.
So you're rolling your damage, but then you will do all of that.
Right, I see. Fuck.
Oh, man. All right, that's a disappointment.
No, I spent a light fate to reroll that. Nah, I won't.
All right. Okay, so yeah, you just slam, just like, and you hear a as it kind of echoes through the graveyard, summoning 25 more undead. No, I'm just kidding. And kind of goes back and then sort of loosely floats there next to the corner of the mausoleum. Good stuff. Where are you going to place yourself, Reginald?
I think I'll stay back here for now. Okay. Behind the meat.
Behind the meat. Okay. So the people that I think have not gone so far, or the creatures that have not gone, all the characters have now gone. The Spectre cannot move because of being stunned. The putrid zombie here, I believe, cannot move because of being stunned, or cannot attack because of the attack that was launched upon them. The skeleton was destroyed, and I think that was it, right? We attacked the skeleton, which was destroyed. Lump did that. The one putrid zombie was hit but can't respond. Can't take an action. And so we have the one skeleton and the two lemurs and one putrid zombie that have yet to go. Does that jive right with everybody? I think that sounds about right. So, what we're going to do here is I'm going to assume that the ones inside the ice did not see the ice appear. So I'm going to assume that the lemur and the lemur inside here is just going to fall. That's what happens with black ice. And I think it does confirm this for me, Weddle. It's 1d6 points of damage, I think.
Yeah, 1d6 and ignores armor.
Right, okay. So I will have you roll that. Let's see how much damage they do is done to them. In D&D, I would roll this, but in Talisman, you generally want the players to roll as much as possible. That's funny, imaginary exponent. Character telling some mathematical theorem in a loud voice. The truth is, X times... Okay, right.
1 damage.
1 damage, okay. Well, all right.
It also explicitly states in the description that any enemy does not see the ice if the result of my spellcasting test equals or exceeds their threat. So my spellcasting test was like 21.
Yeah, you're right, and that's going to exceed their threat. Yep, good call. So that means that they are going to fall. This one is prone, at least for the moment. Prone. Okay. Skeleton is going... Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. It also says that they have to slide to the furthest edge of the 3-meter zone, I think. So they don't just fall prone, right?
So I guess they would... Right. I guess that means that they would... All right, well... That's true. What that means, though, is that I'm going to need Lump to make a test for me, because that means this guy is going to literally slide into Lump. Lump, what I will need you to do...
You've been working on your subtle skill. This is not what I thought we were working on. It's like, I know how to get that lemur's attention. I'll slide him into Lump.
Lump, I need you to make an agility test for me. Let's do that.
Good. I don't know if I'm very good at that. Well, it's better than most of my others, so we'll go
as Lump is like sliding lemur.
Incoming. 3d6.
Slowly leaps above parkour.
Would you accept athletics climbing?
No, unless there is a
Damn it.
ladder that has appeared next to you that you can climb.
No, there's a tree.
Yeah, you're on the wrong side of it though.
So it's 3d6 plus aspect. Or
Uh,
is it just 3d6 plus?
it would be 3d6 plus
metal.
aspect.
Sorry, plus agility. Thing. Sorry. And I'll have that light fate.
Very nice. Okay. Yeah, so I think you're able to actually narrowly step, like basically it's right at your feet, kind of like looking up at you. So very, very odd.
Excellent. Lined up for the next attack.
Yep. This one's going to go in next. Do me a favor and roll for that one too, please. Oh, Weddle can't do that. Can I have someone else roll, please, just 1d6 for the damage done to the skeleton?
Wow, 5.
4. Okay.
Oh, 4 or 5.
I was going to say,
Take
let's go with 4. Wait, why does it say? Oh, I guess 5. Yeah. Why does it say 4 on the? That's very odd. Okay.
I rolled 1 as well.
Oh, I will
you said
take
someone. So.
I will take the first
Yeah.
one. Let's say 4 then. Okay. So that means that they're going to slide all the way to the edge of this zone. Not into you this time. You'll be happy to know, Lump. Okay.
Talisman on ice.
Exactly. This one can't move yet. This one, though, is going to go here.
Toads.
Lump, I need you to make another roll because they're going diagonally towards you. They're going to slip and fall. So please, Reginald, Saber, please make the d6 roll for me to see how much damage that guy takes.
Okay.
4 again.
I'm on a roll here.
Exactly. So's he. Yaha. All right. And then I need Lump to make another agility test for me as the undead just keeps sliding into him.
I see
Cool.
what has happened
15.
while I've been gone.
Yeah, they came running towards Lump, and every time they're like, wah, psh, wah, psh, like, okay.
They're practicing for the Winter Olympics.
Exactly.
Yep.
This is basically curling, but the high stakes.
High stakes curling. High stakes troll curling.
Like the specters in front of them, like sweeping frantically as it like goes. Okay, so go ahead and roll your agility test.
I did 15.
Oh,
I
you did.
got doubles, so I don't know
15
if
is
it passes.
barely enough. It is barely enough as
So
this
it's
thing.
barely a great success.
Yeah. Well, no, that's true. It is a great success. The other, yeah, that's a good point actually. The other one would have been a the other one was standard success.
Yeah.
With a great success, I guess what this means is that you can actually have the option, if you wish, to kind of slide out of the way a meter. So you could go like here. Let me move the lemur out of the way for just a moment. So
I could go like here, right?
yes, that's right. You could exactly right. You could
Out
basically
of black ice,
slide.
because presumably there's now going to be a putrid zombie and a lemur in the same corner.
Right. That's
Yeah.
right.
So I'll
So
do
you
that.
could
So
slide
if I
one out of the
move
way.
Here.
Okay.
Now, how are you going to do? So the lemur slid into me,
Right.
and I dodged it. The skeleton just slid, and the putrid zombie slid into me, and I dodged it. Is the putrid zombie now going to slide into the lemur?
The putrid, no, because the putrid zombie, well, they're basically in the
Axe.
same more or less space. Yeah, no, they're more or less in the same space. They're not going to do damage to each other. All this
Yeah.
was going to do was knock you off
So
your
was
feet.
I.
Well, yeah, but this.
If it's one roll for one, and
No,
one roll for
because you
another.
would have been knocked off your feet. They're already off their feet, sir. They're already prone. This was to knock you
Telling ya.
prone, and it didn't happen.
Sneaky shenanigans.
They're already prone. Okay, and then the last one is, now I have to decide if the lemur is going to try to make his way across. I guess he will, and I guess he won't make it, and I guess that means he goes prone. So one more time, Weddle, for me on that roll for this other lemur. Wow.
Hey.
Oh, like just
Smash.
smash. Yeah, exactly. Okay, and is going to slide. So we have a bunch of prone creatures here. Basically, everybody in this square is prone except for this guy because he didn't move, and the specter who is outside of the zone and is stunned and also is floating and thus will not be
Just
affected by the
vibing
ice.
in the corner of the
Pretty
corner
much.
crypt.
That was a very odd turn for them and an interesting turn for all of you folks. All right, that's going to bring us up to the top again. So what order would everybody like to go in now? You have a pile of undead right near you.
You got a pile of undead next to one of your chief damage dealers. What do you want to do?
Well, I was just going to repeat my last round, hopefully with the same rolls. But yeah, so
good.
I think with me, I can go last. Yeah, that way people can set up other things.
Okay.
I was just going to lump smash.
Yep.
Well, any other tricks?
No, Huddle's all out of tricks. Huddle is also reluctant to attack for fear of being attacked back.
For fear of death.
He'll probably go and stand next to Lump so that, he can get the enemies to attack Lump with his subtlety. Yeah.
Moral support.
Okay.
Immoral support. Okay, I can go first then, because I just want a ranged attack again, because that seemed to be working out well.
Okay, so in that case, we will have you do a ranged attack. Who are you attacking, Regina?
The one that stole my javelin.
Right, which I think was this guy back here, I believe, the one that's still standing. So you're just going to throw it over the heads. I love it. The second javelin gets thrown over the heads of the prone, slid undead. Okay, sounds good. All right, Regina, we'll start with you. So let's have you make that ranged attack, please.
That's some next level parkour going on from Lump right
so
now.
it's again
sliding enemy,
3d6
sliding enemy,
plus
javelin.
8.
It's true, Rory. We're going to do barbecue with these undead, and you're getting a shish kebab here, so it all works.
Yep.
Up. Did it go?
Okay.
I'll exchange that 1 for a 4. Wait.
Okay.
No, I think I'm gonna exchange it for a 3 and hope it's going to be enough. So I'm gonna go up to 18, and I'm spending one of my 3s.
Okay. And I should have said, by the way, that I'm using I am using my Dark Fate, one of my Dark Fate, to increase the threat of the Spectre. I'm not going to use it on these others. So, at a certain unspecified
on
number.
the putrid zombie.
That will definitely hit said putrid zombie.
It's a great success again, because 2 3s.
Yep. So, since that is a great success, it means then that you are going to do complete. So you're going to roll your damage, and you will do whatever the damage says. That's what you will get, and it will not attack you back.
Yes, that is exactly what I want. So let's see. 1d6 plus 6. 12.
Okay. That is a lot. Okay.
God damn.
All right.
It stole my javelin!
Yeah,
Yes,
well,
it did.
Yes, it did. It took it from you, and that was just wrong, and it was bad, and it should feel bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
If grave robbing is wrong, then stealing from the living is wrong as well. So
Are you
there we
now
go.
reverse? If you're
I mean,
giving
yes, it
things
is.
to a corpse, are you reverse grave robbing?
I'm gonna take those javelins back from the corpse.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen.
So-
You're allowed
Technically,
to take
she's
yours.
gifting at the moment.
Yeah,
she's
you're
presenting
gifting
burial
javelins.
gift.
That's true. So
Yeah,
it grabs
you're
it, is like,
gifting
thank you,
javelins.
and goes into the earth. No.
Yeah.
No. So you were hit by it, and
Objective fulfilled.
it falls to the ground and kind of, frankly, falls apart. Like its arm falls off, its leg falls off, and it just kind of falls to the ground. So you have destroyed this thing.
Yes.
All right.
And then I would like to move to the side a bit. Because I'm out of javelins. Because somebody
Okay.
stole them.
Because somebody stole them. That's true. And they just melt into the dirt with it. No. Okay, so he's right there. I wouldn't do that. Okay, so that was Regina up first. I think up second was going to be Lump, and then Hweddle, and then Reginald? I believe that's what we decided? What you
I'm
guys
going
decided to
last,
do?
yeah.
I'm happy with that. Weddle, are you happy with that?
Yeah, can I actually go before Lump?
Oh, yeah, then
Go for it.
Hweddle next.
Go for it.
Right. Huddle would like to walk up to here. He has a speed of 14. Does that mean he can move 14
14 squares.
meters?
Yep.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's
Okay.
doing 7.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna go hit, and then he's gonna go boop, and Cloak of Shadows lump. Just,
Excellent.
I think it's just the classic move.
It's a classic,
now, you know.
Yep.
The Void Troll is a
fists,
classic single.
The Void Troll, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, let's have you do that spellcasting test.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
And it's a great success as
Wow.
well.
Absolutely.
Hot damn.
It is a great success, so it takes full effect, no side effect. So that means it costs 1 spell point, which means you're down to 4. And you cover the troll in a darkness, making you or an ally, specifically the troll is an ally. And so damage will be halved as a result. Oh, you know what I just realized, actually, Mike? When you did the damage to the skeleton, that was after you had been sickened, wasn't it?
Yes, you're right. So that will have been halved. So,
right.
I think
it wasn't
I did.
quite destroyed.
No. So what did I do? Was it 14 or something like that?
I thought you did.
Yes, rolling 1d6 plus 9, 14. So it would have been 7 points of damage.
It would have been 7 points of damage. Okay, yep. I just realized that. My apologies, but it is not quite dead.
No, that's fair. Do we need to do
got
a
better.
sliding? Do we need to do a sliding test for this skeleton?
Yeah. So what that means is that because you had actually moved up to it before it had a chance to attack. So what that would have meant is, did you hit it with a? I'm going up here to see. Where was the roll that you did for this?
Well, I'm not sure how to point this out, but the roll was 3d6
It was great
plus
success.
4.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So great success, which would mean that the creature is not going to be. Your opponent does not get an action. That's what I was double checking to see. Okay. So yeah. So then, what I would like for Weddle to do, please, is to roll 1d6 to see what happens when the skeleton disappears or gets hit, etc. 4. Oh no, that's not 4. I was too high up.
It's a 6.
All right, so it is destroyed. It was just destroyed when it hit the ground instead of being destroyed when Lump punched it.
Yeah.
Just to
Nice.
be clear. All right, good. Now we're all back on track. Lovely. Okay, so that was Sweddle. Good stuff.
That was also that is a free action, which I believe is the equivalent of a bonus action in D&D.
That's right. Yep, that's right.
So
you can now attack
with
or do something else.
No, with my main action, I would like to go and pretend to be a lemur, a recent dead, so that hopefully they won't attack.
Okay.
It's like came over, cloak of shadows, and then totally one of you guys. No need to attack me. I hope that Reginald doesn't take offense on it.
Okay. We will keep that in mind. All right.
I'd like to point out Reginald is not in fact a zombie.
Well, I don't know if it's,
He is a ghoul. He's
take
a
the piss out
He's a
of,
magical
you know,
creature that
the-
doesn't have living characteristics. That often gets mistaken for a zombie by living people who are not as well versed in the undead races or magical races of the realm.
I'm not angry. I'm just
Not
disappointed.
unlike some people that mistake a croof for a stringed instrument, also known as.
Oh man. Okay. So that was done with this thing. Blah blah blah. Okay. So awesome. Okay. So you're able. So you will do that. We'll see what the effect of that will or won't be. Weddle. That's going to lead us now to Regina's gone. Weddle's gone. So now we've got Lump and then Reginald. So Lump, you've got a target-rich environment in front of you.
Absolutely. I also have a timer on
lemur,
my camera.
zombie,
Oh, yeah?
and skeleton.
Lemur, zombie, skeleton. Well, I can't quite reach the skeleton from here. I've got I think I've got 2 lemurs and a zombie on top of each other in front of me.
That's right.
Okay. I'm going to attack the putrid zombie.
Okay. Let's move that over there so we can see it. Okay. You can see how upset it is. Why? All right. So, okay, go ahead and make.
Why me? Why me? I'm going to use a light fate, and I'm going to attack heedlessly.
Heedlessly. Okay.
Heedlessly. So basically, light fate, I take full damage as though I rolled a failure. But if I successfully attack, I roll 2. If I get a great success or higher, I believe, I roll 2d6 for damage instead of a single d6.
Okay. And you are no longer sickened since that was temporary. So the zombie would need to trigger that again if it ever gets a chance to do so, but we'll see.
Yes, we shall see about that. Let me just double check. Heedless, because I can't quite remember the actual wording of that. Warrior. I'm on the section already. Excellent. Thank you, Pegasus Spieler, for having a bookmark in your books. Wizards of the Coast need to take note.
True.
Oh, that's wizard. Yeah, if I put the bookmark in the right place. Heedless. You prefer to charge headlong into battle, never counting the cost. You spend 1 light fate and let a creature you're attacking deal its combat damage as if you rolled a failure on your attack test. If you follow it with an attack test that has a grade of success, you can roll an additional damage die when wielding a one-handed weapon, or 2 additional damage dice when wielding a two-handed weapon.
So he gets to attack you first, is essentially
He
what
gets to
I'm
attack me
hearing?
first, basically, yeah.
Okay.
And
All right.
if my attack test is a failure, I suffer no additional damage.
Okay. Then I'm going to use another light dark fate, which is my third so far.
It's a fate off!
Exactly. Well, I'm determined not to waste them anymore. That's been bothering me for weeks. And is going to use his, because you were attacking the zombie, yes?
The putrid zombie, yes.
Right, so he's going to use his putrid stench. He's going to trigger using this fate, this dark fate. So now I do need you to make a fortitude metal test, and I'm also going to need Hweddle to make that too. Both of you need to make fortitude / it's a metal test, please, as a terrible stench like rotting pasta fills the air again.
I'll take that. It's a 21 with double sixes. I'll take my life fate back as well, actually.
Woof. Wow, okay.
Yeah, not half.
Yeah, these rolls are bad.
Whew.
Okay.
Oh my word!
Let's see. That is
Wowzers.
you get a light fate from that, Bruce. That is just enough as well.
Metal test. Do you not have a metal score, Bruce?
I just assume since I don't have a fortitude skill.
Of course. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you're right. That is
skill.
just
My
enough,
apologies.
though, as it happens. And because it's just enough to beat the DC, it also means that it's a great success. So you are fine. You are not affected by this thing. So both of you then have great successes, not standard successes. So you're not sickened, and you're going to do your full damage. So it does not. It's not going to damage you because it was using that ability instead.
Cool.
So
So
now you can.
I will now roll my attack.
Yes.
36 plus brawn plus 2. 36 plus brawn plus 2. Oy.
So we're looking at. I'll take that dark fate back. Thanks.
Yeah, you do
So are we looking at a 17? Is
17.
the total? Okay. That will still hit though.
Thank God.
It is a standard. It is a standard success, and I think you don't roll.
Yes.
I don't think I roll again on mine because I don't I don't think we do another damage attack because that was done in the reckless attack basically. So, so now you just get a standard success, which means you will do whatever damage you do.
Yep, excellent stuff. So that is. I have to get a sheet out now. So that's normally 1d6 plus 2 for standard success. It's now so for 2 additional damage die for two-handed weapons. 3d6 plus 2, correct?
That sounds right.
That
a
sounds
lot.
legit, doesn't it? 3d6 plus 2. Yeah, but the big risk, big reward. They can hit me they can hit me before I even try. So this could end a combat quite quickly. Oh God, so could a horrible roll.
Wow. Okay, you
Can I spend
hard.
Can I spend a light fate to reroll one of those dice?
Can you?
I don't know.
let
Is that a thing?
There are times when let me make sure.
Can use light fate.
You can use it.
I
Yes, you
think
can.
you
You
can
can.
only-
Yes, you can.
Okay.
You can spend it to re-roll one of the dice, but you have to keep the new result because you
That's
didn't
fine,
spend
I'll-
because you didn't spend fate to add to the roll already, right? So,
not to add to the roll, but the roll is an outcome of me using Light Fate, because this is
actually, you
Light
know
Fate
what?
skill.
I take this
page
back.
37 says no on a failure.
Yeah, I take this back. That's right.
Okay.
It's not that it's a failure. It's that it doesn't affect things on damage. It's this is a Light Fate that you could spend on a test, but this is not a test. This is damage after you already hit.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's fine. So no, that's fine.
So unfortunately, that's not. You punch down with all your might. It's like, bleh, like like you punch through its rib cage, but it didn't have much of a rib anywhere. So, okay, so it's still alive, and it starts singing. I'm still alive. All right, so you do that. Lump, you're going to stay, I assume, in the same vicinity where you are.
Oh,
you're
yes.
Shift off. Okay. Right, okay, it already had a chance to go because of that description we just had, which means last but certainly not least is Reginald. The Spectre seems to have somewhat be recovered now, or recovering, not damage-wise, but just, unstunned.
I did think about being a dick and wasting that Dark Fate by drinking my potion instead, but then I had but I might need it later.
That's true, that's true. That's true.
So yeah, I'm going to just channel my mental energies, and I'm just going to yell, "Begone!" And a huge blast, Skyrim-style, echoes across the battlefield, because I've been playing way too much Skyrim again.
Nice.
Force Rhoda! Okay.
Exactly. And
Right.
I'm going to also throw in my other Light Fate for another 46 roll. Come on.
Oh, nice.
So you got to ditch one, right?
Not bad.
I'll drop the 2 to make it 19.
Not enough. Thank goodness for my Dark Fate.
My goodness.
Thank goodness. Does not do it. So that is unfortunately a failure, which means that it is going to attack you, and it's doing so with the power, as you're probably not surprised to hear, with the power of psychic attack. So that means it is going to try to strike back, and you're going to need to try to defend against it. So let's see.
Rod, when I should have fuzzed.
First row whoops. No, first row duh. First row day.
It's a real tricky pronunciation on that Russ.
First row day. Oh, all right. So
First row dip.
first row derp. Okay, so an
Brilliant.
opponent is going to inflict psychic damage on you. So that is going to mean two things. First of all, it is in fact going to hit you. Actually, an opponent just inflicts psychic damage on you. It's not a test, so it's just going to inflict the damage on you. Which means it is going to do a total of 8 points of psychic damage. That ignores armor, Reginald. Now, I don't think actually... No, I think yeah, because the Peddler's Cloak still does physical. So that means 17 out of 25 life. There's another problem, too, which is that when there is a failure on a psychic attack, it means that you also suffer disorientation. That means that your psychic attacks now have a -2 penalty until you take a short rest. Note that disorientation penalties are cumulative. So if you keep getting this, you're going to keep negative. So it does this, and then it basically floats this way and looks at you with sort of hatred in its eyes and sort of makes this terrible, horrific moaning sound. Okay, I think that's everybody went. Yes, I believe everybody, all the players have now gone. So the Spectre's not going to move because they already attacked Reginald. This one is already down and could not hit back. It's still alive, but that means that this one is going to get up. This lemur is going to get up and is going to stand and attack Lump, stand and deliver, as it were. Let's see. And is going to do so with... All right, is going to attempt to attack with the power of itself. All right, so not a whole lot to this thing. It's going to attack you with its claws. So I need you to make here a defense test. And you're going to be doing this against the enemy's threat. You don't know exactly what that is. But this is agility or brawn that we're looking at here, Lump. Probably brawn, I'm guessing.
Is this a melee defense test?
It is a melee defense test.
Marvelous. +2 on melee defense tests.
Okay.
I would take brawn. No surprise.
Yeah, I'd assumed.
So 3d6 plus brawn plus bonus.
I think because you have a focus in melee.
I have a focus in melee, yes.
Okay, so then plus
Sorry,
so then 3d6 plus aspect plus 2.
Melee defense test though, yes.
Yeah, but you're still but you're defending in melee, so that's
So what's the normal roll for a melee defense test? Just like a normal melee roll.
it would be that's right. Yep.
Okay, cool. So which would be 3d6 plus aspect plus focus.
That would be the case if you have that's right, and you do in this
Yes,
case.
which I've got which I've got focus in melee, but what I'm saying is I get a +2 on melee defense test, so it'd be that all of that plus an additional 2.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, cool.
That's right.
Let's hope I don't fluff the roll this time. 23.
God, plus 11.
I did.
It's just ridiculous. Okay.
Meat wall.
Yeah, seriously. Okay, so that is a great success. You take no damage from the lemur. The zombie stays there. This creature gets up now that it knows the ice is there. It's going to move at half speed. We'll step over the zombie. Is it going to also attack? And it would have been half damage anyway because it's attacking you in the shadows as well.
I forgot about that.
Shadows. But okay, so again, I need you to make another test, same one that you basically just did, because the lemur is going to do that.
It is a 16, and you get a dark fate.
I do. I'll accept that happily.
That's an awful roll.
Let's see. That said, though, because of the plus 11, that's actually going to be enough. So it turns out to be a great success somehow. So no damage there. That's funny. This setup that it has with the ice is definitely not what it was looking for. Okay, this one is going to stand up. It's only going to be able to move one space. They are all, no one ever said the undead were particularly intelligent, focusing their attention on the big creature that's in front of it. So one more test, one more time there, Lump.
19. You can have another dark fate. Good lord.
Okay, 19. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of dark fates going out in this next round. Okay. That, however, is just a standard success. So you are going to take half damage, but you're also already cloaked of shadowed. How long does that last, by the way, Huddle? The cloak of shadows?
Until the start of my next turn.
Start of your next turn. So that means that you are going to take half of half damage, basically. So, so let's see what this thing does as it strikes down with furious anger. Okay, so we're looking at... Okay, so that works out to just 1 point of damage that you're going to take, which you would get presumably off your armor Lump.
Yes,
so
and
just
that's, I'm Xing that one out because it's the first combat encounter, isn't it?
I did something, the skeleton says. Something useful. Okay. So,
It
the zombie...
its sword sort of tinks into my shoulder and I just sort of stare at it.
And the skeleton's like, because it's silent because it's a skeleton.
Sorry.
Okay, that's going to bring us back up. That is all of those creatures. So that's going to bring us back up to the beginning of the combat round again. Okay, let me know, folks, what order everyone would like to go.
I'd like to go first.
Okay.
Do I see any damaged undead?
You see mostly damaged undead, actually. I think they are all damaged in some respect. The least damaged is this lemur over here. Lemur.
Yeah, that's really far away. So, I could go second. If nobody...
Lump smash.
Okay.
Just tell me when to go. Lump smash.
Wonderful.
Okay. So, Regina goes second, you said?
Yes.
You said... sorry, who's going first? Reginald's going first?
I am.
Okay, Reginald first, Regina second, Lump and Whittle.
If I go third, does that mean I'm still affected by the Cloak of Shadows if you go fourth?
Yes.
That's what that would mean.
Can I go third?
Sure. Makes sense to me. How long's the black ice last, by the way?
I'm just waiting for Bruce's reaction. I'm just waiting for a nod or a shake of a head.
Whittle, how long does that black ice last? Also, while we're on the subject.
It does not state at all in my notes.
That's interesting. Yeah, it doesn't state it here either. All right, well, we will save for the combat for now. I'll have to think about that. Okay, so, all right, sounds good. So first to act is Reginald.
Okay, so anybody with hair starts to feel it whipping around a bit as the wind starts to pick up.
Talking about wheeling out the classics.
You start hearing, first, there's nothing. Okay.
No, I've just realised something. It's mathematically impossible to fail to cast this spell anymore.
Nice.
Oh, that's true. I have, by the way, for the record, increased the threat of the Spectre, the more powerful lemur, the putrid zombie, and the skeleton. I have used all of the power of fate. Actually, not the putrid zombie. I take that back. I'm going to save one of them. So one of the lemurs, Spectre, and the skeleton. Sorry, on you go.
All I have to do is beat difficulty 11 to cast Gust of Wind.
Oh, yeah.
Threat is not taken into consideration. Let's do this. I'll take that like fate.
Nice.
Into the bargain.
Okay.
Okay.
So
let me
success.
have that. And everything within 10 meters of, let's say, the lemur in the bottom right corner of the ice there, are all going to everything within 10 meters. Will take 7 damage and be knocked over.
Everything.
Did you say everything?
Every enemy. Sorry. Yep. That's the wording. That's the wording. Every enemy.
Every enemy is going to take how much damage?
7 points of damage and be knocked over.
7 points of damage and be knocked over. Now, that is a standard success,
it is?
not a great success. So what that means is that I'm going to say that you can cast it, but it is going to take an extra spell point, or you will be strained by the spell casting.
Okay. I will take the extra spell points on that.
All right, which means that you are sitting at, I guess
5
that
out
would
of
be
7.
5 out of 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so everybody takes 7, huh? Well, let's see. And you said within the lemur's range?
Within 10 meters of this bottom right lemur here.
I wonder if that's all enemies that are... Because is it about being knocked prone?
10 meters?
Because I'm trying to think. Because I'm trying to think about
the.
I'm thinking about whether the Spectre, which is floating, is going to be affected in the same way.
I'd probably say not in that case. But it is...
I don't know, it's a gust of wind.
knocked to the ground, taking damage equal to your craft.
Okay, so I would say the Spectre is not going to be affected by that. But the putrid zombie and the rest of them are. Actually, I'm not sure that... I guess the putrid zombie did. I'm not actually 100% sure if they ever got back up. I guess they did. Yeah, no, that's true. They stood back up in their turn to be able to attack. So yeah, okay, so they get knocked right back down again. They get knocked down, but they got up again. Only they never got knocked down. Okay, so 7 life. Well, that is going to... Nope, not
This
you.
7 damage and then an additional damage for being knocked over?
No.
7 damage for that. Okay, that zombie is destroyed this time.
Yeah, they're all just like blown off their feet and slam into the ground, basically.
Okay, let's see. This one, which was the least... This one, this guy, is gone as well. This one is alive. This one is very close to death, but is not quite, well, undeath, whatever, but is not quite dead. Okay, so that leaves us with 1 lemur, 1 skeleton, and 1 spectre, and the skeleton and lemur are both prone.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so for my move, I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll move up to about here.
Okay. Yeah, it's
There we go.
The spell should be called, Runo says, like a fart in the wind. Every time he casts it, all his problems blow away. Yes, that's pretty much right. All right, good stuff, Reginald. Okay. Next up was, let's see, second, I think we had Lump going after a Lump going before Weddle. So I think Regina was next, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Okay, Regina.
So now we have like several skills doing things together. We have so because I have the 2-handed master, so I'm gonna take a spear in each hand, which means the spear only does 1d6 damage because it's a 2-handed weapon in just one hand.
Okay.
Which means that 2-weapon fighting gets activated, which only works if I have a weapon in my hand that does 1d6 damage.
Okay. So you've got double spears, is what you're telling me.
Yes, I've got double spears. I am the
Nice.
hedgehog.
All right, good.
I am the hedgehog.
Got it.
and I'm going to attack that way. That's
okay.
the whole plan.
Let's do it. All right. Where are you attacking, or who are you attacking? You
The
got this
skeleton.
Okay. All right.
Because I'm just running up here like this and poke it.
Okay. Okay. All right. Sounds like a plan. Go ahead and make your roll. Let's see what happens.
So let's see if this is still just the agility attack. Just checking if I have, just seeing if I have. So it's plus. It should still be the same. Yeah, it should be the same. It's a bit complicated. I really hope I've got all the bonuses right here. It's always very.
You sound like me rolling
It's
dice.
so much. 3D. I think it's still 3d6 plus 8.
So it's like Celtic with the sneak attack damage.
I exchanged the 2 for another 3.
From your tactician, yep. Okay.
Yes, that's 2. And then
against the
bring it up to
skeleton.
20 and get a light fate.
All right. Let me take a look and see whether or not my attempt to pump this thing with threat is going to matter. Probably will not.
If it hits, it's a great success as well. Which is cool.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, that's my plan.
Yeah.
I like this tactician thing. It works
It's
out.
really good. Yeah.
The one time Regina reads a book.
It works out. See? Yeah, that is going to hit.
She read the
Regina
right book.
reads.
Even with the increased threat, that's going to hit. So, okay. So that hits. It is a great success, which means you do all of the damage. Do not take anything back. So go ahead and roll your
and
damage.
now it's going to be like lots of damage. I have to see. I do 2 additional points of damage for two-handed master, and I add another 2. Oh, I've got a great success, so I get at my agility.
Hey, Pyron, I want to check on something though. Two-handed master used with 2 weapon fighting, because my assumption was two-handed means you're literally using a weapon with 2 hands, which means you couldn't be you couldn't have a spear in each hand if you're double-handed,
Two-handed,
right?
Two-handed master reads. You can wield a two-handed weapon single-handed.
Oh, I see. So I got you. Wow, that's pretty awesome. Okay, then,
Yes.
then proceed.
Yes, it is.
So I have the damage is 1d6 plus 6 for my agility, plus 2 for two-handed master, so it's plus 8, and then plus agility again, so it's 1d6 plus 14.
1d6 plus 14. All right, go ahead and roll it.
Is it
but only because it's a great success.
It's a great success.
Yeah.
Is it not 2d6 because it's an additional damage die? Sorry, that was my fault.
No.
Okay.
I don't see that. I can add my agility if it's a great success.
Okay. Maybe that's something else.
Okay.
20.
I don't know.
20 damage. Well, this is the part where I explained that the skeleton had 1 life left, so you pretty much obliterate all skeletons at the same time. No, I'm just
So
kidding.
I just stand over the skeleton and go like poke, 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 poke.
just like you're chopping ice, just like, and slam. Okay, it is obliterated. Okay, good work there, Regina. And obviously no attack back because of what we just said about the great success. So, okay, that was Regina. That leaves us with Weddle, who has to go... nope, sorry. Lump has to go first, then Weddle. So, Lump, you're up. There is now only one lemur that you are facing, which is currently prone on the ground, having been blown over.
Yep. Going for a big boulder hit.
Okay.
So 3d6 plus 1 plus 2.
It does have that increased threat in my vain attempt to protect it.
21.
Let's see. Bear with me a second.
Oh god, the suspense is killing me.
Sorry. This thing had... Okay, yes, that hits. Yes.
Oh, thank god.
It's a standard success, so it is going to do damage back to you, and because it'll be half-halved again. Right. So it will do damage back. Go ahead and you roll your damage, and I will, in the meantime, roll its damage.
10 points of damage.
Okay. So again, that is 1 point of damage to you, taken off your armor. That's what happens when it's halved and halved. Okay, and 10 points of damage is enough as well to kill it. No armor on these creatures. All right, good stuff. And that leads us finally to, since I assume Lump is staying where he is, although correct me if I'm wrong.
Lump is staying where he is.
That's going to lead us, last but certainly not least, to Weddle. The Cloak of Shadows now disappears. And there's one thing left, Weddle.
To be honest, Waddle's not really sure that he can do anything of value here. No, do you know what? He's going to stop pretending to be a lemure, and he's going to cast lightning bolt on the spectre.
Nice. I thought you were going to say you're going to pretend to be a spectre now.
Going to pretend to be a spectre. You can't see me. I am floating in the air.
Throws a bedroll over his head.
Okay. All right. Now you're going to be making this. You'll be doing this. This time this is going against the threat of the creature that you're facing. So you are going to be doing that. But otherwise, it's going to be a spell point, but you can do that. So, yeah. So you can go ahead and make a spell casting test then.
I'd like to use a light fate to give me an extra die to choose from.
Seems reasonable.
+6 +2. Oh.
No, you rolled no.
No, yeah, I rolled 3d4.
I was gonna say, I was like, that's a terrible roll. It's like that's what happens. You roll 3d4. We're looking at 6 here.
Sorry, it's gone midnight.
No, that's fine.
I'd like to
Wow.
drop the 3, please. I'll take my light fate back and
5,
have
5,
a
and a
nice
6.
success.
That would also theoretically stun the creature, although it will fight back simultaneous to this. Okay.
Poor damn spectre.
Yeah, seriously, it has been just absolutely obliterated. Okay, so that
It
means
messed with the wrong grave robbers.
that it really is the case.
Excuse me.
I think we've become grave robbers now. Okay, so having done that, it means that you have a great success, full effect with no side effects, which means lightning will be cast upon it. All right, how much damage are we looking at for this lightning thing? Looks like 1d6 plus craft, I guess. So yeah, so go ahead with that. What a 1d6 plus craft, please. Man, that was even with that boosted threat, but just was not enough. Jeez.
Oh, I'm rolling 66 tonight.
Good gravy.
That's
It's
my
the opposite of
third
last week.
It really is the opposite of last week. That's
Yeah.
why you just obliterated this fight, because that absolutely annihilates it. And as it is devastated and just sort of falls, kind of, as it does that, just get my thing up here. That is not running at all, so let's get the graveyard thing going here. Okay, there we go. As it hits the ground, as it dissipates into the air, you hear from behind you, "Well, that's good. That's good work. Good work. I'm glad to see it. Obviously, I picked the right people. Not that I'm surprised." And you turn to see Auntie rolling in, sort of with the donkey, slowly pulling along the wagon behind it and the body there. And she comes into where you are and she says, "Right. Well, now I have to find some ghouls to help put these things in this burial plot. And I'm going to ask you to come with me because..." And then she stops. And her face goes quite still. and she says,
"Something's not right in the sepulchre, puppets. Go seek the caretaker in the Acropolis proper. Something's busted down under the earth like a lock without a key, like a broken lock, like a door torn off its hinges, like the cats got out and all the world's turned to mice. If you wouldn't like to be devoured, you'll listen to Auntie."
and then her face clears and she says,
"Right, what are you all staring at me for? Let's go."
as if she has no idea what she just said. And as she trundles off with her village, trundles off with her wagon to presumably where the ghouls might be found with their burial plot, and you with your vision echoing in your ears, we will bring this session to a close. So, good stuff today, folks. A little more melee focused this time around than we had previously. But as you always know, these things go back and forth this way. I did not totally expect it would be quite that easy. But a large part of that was excellent rolls and then also good tactics. I mean, the tactician thing obviously helped, but I think everyone played well together with the black ice. The gust of wind was useful as well, Reginald. Lump pounding away. Regina, the hitting against the skeleton that was like killing 10 times the skeleton's health by the time you got up to it, basically. So there was a lot of that. But there is clearly something not right in Paradise. The world feels wrong and off, and there's not the pulse of evil that you would have expected. So there are issues that you're all attending to that you're going to have to think about in our next session to figure out what's going on with this necropolis and why everything feels bad when it should feel good and good when it should feel bad. We will see. I will start with Hweddle at the bottom. Good stuff today, Hweddle. That black ice was actually quite useful. The Cloak of Shadows also helped as well. And I liked the idea of you pretending to be a lemur, although, as it turned out, the lemurs were a little too busy slipping, falling to the ground, and being pounded into the dirt by a troll. So it didn't have as much of effect as it turned out as you needed it. You didn't need to have it as much of an effect as it turned out, but very effective stuff, especially with that black ice. And also, this mystic a little bit in this area, so you were the first one to feel the wrongness of all this area. So it'll be interesting to see how Hweddle deals with that. How did you feel about today's session? Where will the fine folks find you next?
Yeah, that was a pretty fun session. I definitely was planning on Hweddle being more of a, constant lying and silliness, but faced with Auntie Nan, he wasn't going to play any silly games with her. He knows better. So that didn't happen this week. I'm pretty pleased. It felt like I was, like Hweddle was useful in that battle. I think sometimes it feels like there's not much point in him using his rapier to attack anything because he's probably going to miss and just get himself hurt. So yeah, it feels like he's getting some good use out of his spells and being useful to the team. And I also just love the mental image of sort of Lump going over there, and then just as soon as he arrives, it's just like loads of like zombies just coming at him, sliding along
in the
direction.
floor,
like
I love being like, what is this? Like, why are they all? Yeah. Yep.
And Finding Me Next will be having a month-long nap over the holiday period. I think that's the general plan. And that's all. So we'll see me next at the next Talisman Adventures session.
That's right. I can get behind the month nap. Yeah, that's right. Happy New Year and happy holidays and all that, Bruce. And thank you as always. And moving right on up the line, and pet those greyhounds, those dogs for me. Moving right on up the line, Mike Lump obviously doing what Lump does best, which is Lump Smash. And yes, it was true. The bowling pin scenario where the pin doesn't actually fall when the bowling ball hits it meant that you got a chance to basically smash creatures into the dust. That putrid zombie I thought was going to be more of a problem, but because of what ended up happening with the black ice, the zombies kind of got eliminated. And the fact that Regina's javelins took out that one putrid zombie fairly quickly, that meant that they were eliminated as more of a threat. Otherwise, they could have caused more of a problem. Those and also the Spectre were the ones that I was wondering would have the most effect. But you had no problem in just basically smashing them to bits, given the teamwork of your comrades. And now you have to figure out what's going to happen with this place that you're in and why everything feels wrong. How did you feel about today's session? Where will the fine folks find you next?
I adored this session, to be honest with you. I always adore these sessions. They're just so much fun. And I think you're right. I think it's really nice to see all of the characters just kind of being in sync with each other. And like there's the head nod to Reginald where it's like, you take the ghost, we'll take the flesh ones. Like Lump knows like there's magic people for magic people and heavy hit people for heavy hit people.
Yep.
And yeah, he's definitely he's finding his place amongst everything, which is really nice. And yeah, there might be some bits of Lump's background because he's been around this way before, so there might be a couple of bits of Lump's background that come out in the subsequent episodes. Who knows? But genuinely, it feels like it's going to be a lifetime until we play together again. I think it's 3 weeks until Ghost of Saltmarsh and about 72 weeks until New Year. So it's going to feel like forever, to be honest with you. There's always that period of time, that liminal time between Christmas and New Year, that limbo, where it feels like it's 6 months long, and you just like 4 days, but we'll get through it, people. But yeah, other than that, you can find me. I have no idea when I'm going to stream next. I genuinely don't. You'll find me on my channel playing a PlayStation 2 game at some point. So find me on Peripheral Mic. And if anybody's interested, I'll drop a link to my Discord channel because that's the only sort of social media I'm doing at the moment because it's become a bit of a mental health vampire right now. So that's where updates are going, and that's where I'm posting random photos of pets and random photos of retro game collections because I spend all my money on 30-year-old video games and I should know better. But that's it. That's me.
Good stuff. Thank you, Mike. Always a pleasure. And I will send, happy holidays as well, although I'll be speaking to you before the new year. Moving right along, you will have a chance to... Oh, and I should mention to everybody that if you're curious, we have our new season of Eberron will be launching next year. And by next year, I mean next month. And so the video that we've been doing, those are done by Peripheral Mic. So if you want to see more awesomeness from that, like the video that opens up this very campaign, that is going to be coming to you soon as of next month. So you can always check in for that too. But thank you, Mike. Always a pleasure. Moving right along, we have, of course, Saber. Obviously, I did think there was going to be kind of a one-on-one between Reginald and the Spectre with the psychic combat. And the big thing, I think, that happened there, that you do have the -2, which I have to mark actually right here, -2 to psychic combat until you get a short rest. But that was only because I was able to, I had to pump up the threat because you did a lot of damage to the Spectre with the various psychic things you were doing. And the ever popular Gust of Wind, naturally. So that was very effective in the combat setting. Beyond that, though, obviously this is going to be something which directly is familiar to Reginald, especially as we see things going on, or should I say unfamiliar, in that this is not the way that these things should normally feel. And obviously Reginald spent all his life and unlife around graveyards and knows what it's like. So it'll be interesting to see how Reginald reacts to that. Of course, we're also doing this to #SaveBoots as well. So there was, you've got that going on and the combat effectiveness and the fact that the restless dead are being, restless. How did you feel about the session today? Where will the fine folks find you next?
It was a lot of fun. I think there was a really good balance between sort of role-playing moments and just the team being awesome in combat as well.
Yeah,
shout out to Queddle going, there's nothing I can do, like Byron pointed out. There's nothing I can do. Lightning bolt.
Yeah, no, seriously. That was... Mm-hmm.
And we had undead slip and slide, and but at the start of this campaign, Shatter was my favorite spell. It's rapidly becoming Gust of Wind now, which is, it's not the fanciest spell in terms of like damage output, but using it in the right place at the right time, and you go, oh look, all the enemies have drifted close together. It makes an excellent crowd control spell, I've found.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I've actually genuinely been looking forward to since we found out we're going to Sepulchre. It's like, oh, this is going to be good because it's an interesting place in the lore. Like if you read about it in Talisman, it's not really fleshed out in Talisman, but in the Adventures book, it gets a lot more lore, which is really, really nice because it is an interesting place. And I do feel the ghouls are very, very interesting in this world as well because they exist in this real. They're not living, they're not dead, they're not technically undead, but they're not alive, and lots of people feel different ways about them. They're sort of magical, and they've actually got some really meaty lore to get stuck into because it's not really at least not I've encountered in D&D a lot of undead sort of player classes, at least in the mainstream ones that I've encountered.
There can be
like
some with like
right.
I was going to say that. Yeah, in Ravenloft I had a vampire and things like that. But it's under normal circumstances. No, partially because there's such anathema to the world of the living that and there's issues, right? Like unless you're going to play sparkly vampires, Twilight, you basically can't just do what other people do. So the rest of the party wants to travel at day, you can't do that. If you're a vampire and if you're a ghoul, there are other problems. So yeah, you're right. I think that's true. And yes, Sepulchre is going to be literally the next stop. It is going to literally be the village, the town proper, the city proper next.
It's going to be interesting to see what we encounter because I'll be interested to see how Reginald will have to deal with things. But, I guess we'll find out next year.
Indeed.
But as for me, you don't have to wait till next year. I'll be back here tomorrow. I'm doing the release stream for Knights of Honor 2 Sovereign, which is a new grand strategy game that's come out. People know I do kind of like my grand strategy games, so I'm going to be checking that one out right here in the same time slot. And, of course, I'll be streaming over on my own channel on Thursday. Not sure what yet. Might be Prey, might be Bloodstained. Kind of alternating games at the moment, but probably something like that.
Good stuff. Thank you. Good work today. Thank you, as always, for Moobot and Dashboard and so on. And I will see you in a few weeks, at the latest in a few weeks for Saltmarsh. Last but certainly not least, Pyron, again, Regina got some good stuff. I agree with you that Tactician is useful. The fact that you have that and then can use those during the course of the combat is a really neat, interesting idea. And you were able to use that in several cases to be able to inflict more damage. And Regina was responsible for wiping out the one putrid zombie and was also responsible for taking out the skeleton, though admittedly a stiff breeze would have eliminated the skeleton, probably another stiff breeze, but completely obliterated that skeleton at that point. Plus, also, I was laughing at the reaction that Regina was having to Auntie, where she was just kind of like, yeah, whatever, this one, I don't care about this one. That was very funny to me. A cantankerous type is not necessarily going to sit well with Regina, whose patience is not exactly legendary, I think I would say. But good stuff in combat, and they'll be interested to see how Regina handles things when you get to the City of the Dead. How did you feel about today's session? Where will the fine folks find you next?
Oh, I really loved today's session. It put me in such a good mood. I'll just really sleep well after this. And yeah, Regina might not really like old women who speak from a position of authority for some reason. That's just maybe not her thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was funny, and so now really some of Regina's abilities really work nicely together. The thing that I start with 2 light fates, so I can use 1 for a tactician. And it's I'm really happy right now with this how this character build is going.
Yeah.
There was a little point in time where, because I had to start with a strength of 4 because I'm a sprite and I can only have a low starting strength. I was like, oh, this is going to be a problem because I cannot access a lot of the warrior abilities that become at level up. Like Anvil, for example, was closed for me at this level up, and I would have liked it. So yeah, but it's still coming together nicely, and I really like it, so I'm really happy. I would like to get a stream in before Christmas. I was thinking about something, like playing a feel-good game. So one of the games I really, really like and just getting back to it. So maybe some Ultima Underworld, for example, because it's just like, I just love it so much. I know it doesn't look good from a modern standpoint, but it's from the immersion and the story, and it's just such a good game. And so I'm thinking about that. I really hope we can do Ghost of Saltmarsh. It's currently hinging on a few family plans on my side.
Right.
So, chat, if it doesn't happen, just it's all my fault and real life and all of these things that can happen. But I would love to do it, so I hope it will happen. And yeah, that's it. That's it for me. I'm looking forward to Saber's stream of Knights of Honor because I thought the trailer looks really good, but I'm always very partial to hear Saber's opinion on such games because he has a far bigger experience with them than I have. So I hope to be there tomorrow night.
Good stuff. And thank you to the whole crew. I will be speaking to 3 of you, as I said, in a few weeks, but I will just say to the crew of Talisman, thank you for a wonderful 2022. I hope that Pegasus Spiele has felt good about the paces that we've put their system through and the adventures we put them through. And I think this crew deserves a lot of credit. That you see below me in the column deserves a lot of credit for playing their characters memorably and quite well. So thank you to all of them. It was lovely playing with all of you. I will see Bruce in the new year. The rest of you I'll see before that. Chat, can we get some love for Pyron Jade, Darksaber 2K, Peripheral Mike, and Undeveloped Bruce? Thank you, everybody. Good work, players. I will catch you folks soon. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
All right, and that, chat, is going to do it for us for the evening. So I hope you enjoyed yourselves as much as I did. This was a lot of fun. I was glad to be able to get 2 weeks in a row of this where we could really kind of get some momentum going, which was pretty cool. I am going to be done now until I'm going to be done now here until we get to next week on this channel when I will be back with Road Warden. And I do want to remind everybody, Road Warden is where chat is actually working together to try to complete something. So that would be really great if you folks are going to be with me for that. So we've got that. We've also got, of course, coming up later this week, I'm going to have some more Ghost of Tsushima. So we're going to have that happening both on, Saturday and on Friday. I believe it's this Friday. We're going to have a special session of my Speculate podcast with, give me 1 second as I put this on, with Destiny 2. So I'm going to be doing a little bit Destiny 2 with some folks. Otherwise, I'm mostly going to be grading and editing because I got a lot of work I got to do in both those scores. But that's going to do it for me, everybody. If you like what you saw and heard, please follow the channel. Please subscribe to the channel here on GOG.com, and please check through and click through to our individual channels where you can also do the same thing and support us on our individual channels as well. I will see all of you lovely folks on this channel next week for Road Warden and more Pen and Pixels. Otherwise, I'll see you folks for Talisman Adventures next month, and I'll see you, of course, for Ghosts of Saltmarsh at the end of the month, and I'll see you hopefully on my channel in the next few days. As far as rating is concerned, I will leave that up to one of the incredibly able mods like Pyron or one of those folks to do that. But sounds good. If we want to raid Batoman, I'd be totally fine with that. That's it for me. Thanks, everyone. Much love, and everyone be good to each other. I will catch you folks soon. Bye for now.